Yeah, last time I skied, snowboards were new.
Exactly.
So I've
Yeah.
never tried snowboarding.
Yeah. Here too. Hey, everybody. Welcome. Welcome. Want to thank Rick, Left Coast Graphics, for coming in and saying hey and giving a talk about. There is a link up above. If anybody else wants to come in, you're more than welcome. This is probably only going to be about an hour long because I forgot I'm stepping on 3 Minute and a Monkey Lizard's toes. They're actually doing theirs right now too. So I don't want to be very long. I've got them running in the background.
Yeah, I do too.
But yeah, so I can keep them going. But um, so I just wanted to kind of have a quick rant, as it were, about kind of where we are as Star Wars fans in the world right now, and how we just don't seem to be getting better or learning the lessons of the past. Um, there's always something going on that we're seem to be fighting about now, and that's not what Star Wars has been forever. Star Wars, we fought the others. We didn't fight each other. You know, when me and Rick were growing up, after '83, after Return of the Jedi or whatever, it wasn't cool to like Star Wars or Trek or Doctor Who or Lord of the Rings. I got punched clean in the face and my Hobbit book torn in half because I was a nerd, and that wasn't cool in my school. So we used to fight others. We had to fight to keep our geek cred, as it were, um, from the outside world trying to tell us that we were bad people because we liked a fantasy show or something like that. Meanwhile, they're all playing, fantasy football and stuff without realizing they're just playing another version of Dungeons and Dragons. But with when the prequels came out, that was the first divide, really, and that really started people kind of attacking George and attacking Lucasfilm, and you either loved them or you hated them. I actually like the prequels. Episode 2 is boring, so I rarely rewatch it. I'll watch 1 and 3, but I skip 2 just because I don't know. It just the pacing isn't right for me.
I think it may have officially started when George re-released the original trilogy with special editions.
Yeah,
Say with 1, 2, and 3, there was kind of a new beginning. Oh, let's hate new. Like, so there was a little bit of it in the '90s, but I saw it a lot more when the sequels came out. Like, even though the sequels are not my 3 favorite movies, I don't brag about how much I hate them. I don't
yeah.
devote hours of my time towards
Well,
how much I
and
do.
I'm slightly hypocritical about this, and I've learned the error of my ways. I don't like the sequel trilogy, but it's not the actors or things like that I didn't like. It's the plot or lack of plot or lack of planning, that kind of thing that really annoyed me.
Yeah,
Other than that, I think the actors did a good job. The music is okay to subpar for a John Williams score. I couldn't name you one song from any of the soundtracks or pick it out.
correct. And the original prequels, The Duel of the Fates, stands
Yeah.
out as a sequence and a song, or a set of music that we know, and I think
Mm-hmm.
most of us like that song, right? And that
Oh
scene,
yeah.
of course.
Oh
There
yeah.
was nothing like that, even close in the sequels. I'm
Well, and
trying
we
to
know
think.
we know why that happened to the Last Skywalker, because they didn't finish the movie until like 2 weeks before it was supposed to come out. I
Yeah,
mean,
it did seem like overall it was a rushed
yeah.
set of 3 movies.
John's in his 80s. It's not like he can just pump out new music. Okay, we need 30 minutes of new music for
Yeah, I hear you.
completely new scenes. So, and I was vehemently anti sequels, but it's because I think it was because they made no sense to me. I didn't understand the Rilo thing. I have a Rilo person at work who's tried to explain it to me, and I still can't understand why she
I
thinks
think
this
it's
man who
Ray,
abused,
Chris.
yeah, who abused her. I mean, the first time they met, he shot her and then tortured her and tried to mind rape her. That's neither here nor there. So I
There
didn't
is a
understand.
huge fan base that's all they cared about in those movies was the the relationship between Ray and Kylo. Like
Yeah,
that was their
which
favorite part of those
could
movies.
have been really well done if it had been plotted better.
Yeah,
You
it's like they
know,
saved it to the end.
yeah. Well, and they saved it because they felt they had to. I think they
Mm-hmm.
had to pay off the whole thing and the force dating they did
Yeah.
and all that stuff and force of holding hands. Imagine being a teenager with force powers and you can go just wander into any person's house you want.
Yeah, and I guess with those movies, if I was to say select a couple of things that I didn't like, I didn't like some of the new rules or whatever they added to those movies that we didn't know from the movies, the first six movies, and even from comics and video games and whatnot. We didn't have like, force iPhone video chat, Skype
Yeah,
calls, and all of
and
a
just
sudden you can touch them and water can drip on you from that planet. Like that, still to
yeah,
me, I'm just going to pretend that didn't happen. And I think I'll be okay because I don't think we'll see it again on a Disney Plus show. I just don't think we'll do it. I don't think Filoni or Favreau or any of the ladies or other directors who are involved in making new things, the Acolyte and whatnot, I don't think the Force touch thing
yeah.
is going to come back. I really don't.
I
Unless
don't
it's in
think
the
it
High
will unless
Republic.
they do something with the sequel characters as shows.
Is there anything in the High Republic that has
I
any of
don't
that?
honestly know.
Okay. I
And
thought
see,
maybe you were
that's
caught up with that.
I haven't even started with the High Republic.
Brandon might
Um,
know. He's a
I
fan
I
of that
bought a
sort of movie.
couple of the books, but I haven't read them, and now I'm 8 books behind,
It's
and
like when they come out with 10 books in a year on the
it's too
same,
much.
it's a lot.
I need to choose between whether I'm supporting OG stuff or sequel stuff. And if I'm buying a book, I want to learn more about Grand Moff Tarkin, or I want to learn more about Leia, or stuff like that. I don't.
Sure, sure.
The High
Gronk.
Republic is so disconnected for me that it would be like starting a completely new fantasy series, and I'm
And
just
I'm
not
okay
there
with
yet.
brand new fantasy series. And I'm okay with brand new Star Wars series that may not even mention a character's name that we have ever heard of before. Just brand new, and they just
Yeah,
put the Star Wars logo on it and use, similar spaceships and
yeah, and that's
planets. Like
that's great. That's kind of what I've been asking for, because I think that for some parts, Star Wars has gotten too small.
I do want both though.
It
I
needs to
do
go back
want to continue the universe that I live in.
Yeah,
Like I live in the Boba Fett, Jabba the Hutt, Gonk droid universe, and that's what I like to see at midnight on Wednesday night,
yep,
or however, or when I go to the theater. Not saying I won't go to the theater to watch a sequel with Darth Maul and Ahsoka and other
yeah,
cartoon characters. If it's good, I'll go watch it. If it's Star Wars, I'll go watch it. I'm that kind of a fan. Even if the reviews are in and it sucks, I still bought my $18 ticket at the Cineplex, and I
yeah,
probably twice bought it until I realized it's not my favorite movie.
yeah. Well, and there's whole channels built on this kind of hate,
Yeah,
which is just, I can't sometimes I can't tell if they're actually just being dishonest so they can get their money and
it's
go.
partly that. I think it's.
Um, you
I
know,
gotta agree with the other gangsters to be part of the gang.
yeah, yeah. And
It's
if I don't,
weird.
I'll look out of place.
I'll
But
watch some of those people on YouTube, and basically that's the only place for entertainment value. And
yeah,
then they get into that's not even 8 seconds into the thing. They're already saying something that I 380-degree turn that I agree with, and I'm off it. Yet there's 8,000 people in there like,
yeah.
oh, this and that, and yeah. I don't get it, man. I just don't.
And I watch some of the positive reviewers, and they have like upwards of 400-500 views or something, and then some moron who literally seconds in is like, that was the biggest trash I've ever seen in my life,
Yep.
has 35,000 views.
It seems that hate sells.
Yeah, it's like, well, I was watching. I'm not going to say what, because I don't want to get in trouble, and I don't want to start a internet beef war, But one of them was like, "What is the point of this show? Why am I even being forced?" He said, "Why am I being forced to watch these flashbacks? None of that matters. None of it matters about how he got to where he is now. It just matters now." Like, no, where he's been is as important as where he is now. Because
for sure, I think it's great storytelling. There's not a thing I can complain about yet.
Well, and they're like, well,
and I'm only 20% through it, or 30% through it. Like, yeah, I can't wait.
He says, what's the point of all this stuff with the Tuscans and all this? Well, obviously it's because he's going to need them later to fight whatever. And why not? Why not humanize the Tuscans instead of being these roaming, barbarians?
To be honest, I'm glad. I'd rather see flashbacks of him with these new Tuscans to us than hanging out with a bunch of other Mandalorians. I saw that show already.
Yeah.
So, or that new fish alien, the Pike. I'd rather a bunch of flashbacks with Sand people than with Pikes or with other cartoon characters, or
and that was another thing that they were attacking. They were like, well, the train that had no, what is that? That's just stupid. There are no trains in Star Wars. Actually, there's some in the Clone Wars, and Boba Fett helped defend one against an attack in the Clone Wars.
In Solo, and it was another cool scene, but it was a different location. So it's a Western. Every Western has a train scene.
You have to have a train scene because it's a Western. And also, it shows that the Pikes were coming in after the fall of the Republic, or fall of the Empire, and maybe hedging in a little bit on Jabba's spice trading.
Yeah, do you think they use those? Do you think they use those Pikes for no reason whatsoever?
Yeah, Jabba's dead.
There's a reason why that creature, that species, is used, and we'll find out about it.
Yep.
Like, another question will be answered. Hundreds of questions will be answered, even though we didn't even know we're getting them answered, or we didn't know we wanted to answer. But you will.
Yeah, and that's how Filoni and Favreau work. Especially Filoni, and I know he didn't have a ton to do with the story structure of this, but Favreau did. And Favreau structures kind of the same way, as very slow burns.
Favreau is a talented writer. He's proven that with what he's done in his pretty short career, I'm going to say. He hasn't been doing this a long time. He was an actor, right? He was an actor is what he was. Filoni has a very similar background. Like, he has a ton of experience doing what he does, and he creates. He's a good story writer. He learned from one of the best story writers, I think, of all time, right? So put those two minds together, and then you got other guys who have been part of this Lucasfilm group for many, many years as well. They all have a little bit of input. They all say, oh, you can't cut off a hand and everything. They all bring in something to the picture. But I think when it comes to this Filoni specific episode, which rumors are as episode 6, chapter 6, I think Favreau kind of wrote the overall story, and now Filoni went in, okay, now I get these 10 pages are mine. Like, so he probably got to put things in there, and then they both agree or disagree or change or add at the concept stage. I think they figured this out years ago. They know exactly how we're going to react every week. Yeah, exactly.
They're like, everybody wants Boba Fett to be this pitiless mercenary who just murders people everywhere. Well, we were never really shown that who he was in the movies anyway.
It was always a mystery.
We were just told no disintegration.
Yeah, he was always a mystery. Which is partly why we liked him so much.
Yeah. And then when when episode 2 came and we saw his face and we got a little more background about him, and then through the Clone Wars, but that's, people are stuck on their vision of what Boba Fett is, not who he actually is. He's not this Clint Eastwood man with no name, wandering. That's the Mandalorian.
A little like that. I think if there's a list of 10 movie actor characters that they take from, or let's say modern, like that Jon Favreau and Filoni are taken from, for sure John Wayne's one of those 10 people. For sure he is. Like,
oh well,
even with Cad Bane and other characters.
You definitely see that more in The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
What you see with him is I can't remember the sheriff's name in High Noon, who he doesn't want to necessarily fight, but if he has to, he will. I personally think most of this is more like, it's kind of Dances with Wolvesy in a way. I think it's more Lawrence of Arabia.
It's both.
Yeah.
You don't think Jon Favreau and Filoni have watched those movies?
Oh, they
of dozens of times.
Forced to watch them in film school.
We could both Google right now what Jon Favreau's favorite movie is, and I bet you one of those 3 movies you just mentioned is one of them. Like,
I wouldn't be
without a doubt.
surprised.
These guys are filmmakers now. They respect earlier films, much like George Lucas. You see all the X-Wings and TIE fighter scenes, and then you mirror that right on top of an old black and white, World War II movie. It's the same. Like he did it for a reason. Like there was a cockpit view, there was a, behind the plane view. However you did it, there's reasons for it.
Exactly. Filoni doesn't do throwaway characters.
Oh, of course not.
And that's why, more hate which was based on the Bad Batch and Clone Wars season 7. I know people who will just scream up and down about season 7 and the sisters, who were like a little 3-episode arc.
Yeah. The red girls, right? The red ones?
Yeah. I can't remember what their names were. They hate them. I mean, you mention them to some people and they will just, there was no reason for that, blah, blah, blah. To me, there was.
It's just extra. If you don't like it, pretend it didn't happen.
Yeah.
And go on your own storyline.
They showed back up in Bad Batch, didn't they? And we needed them for something.
But you'll lose all the Star Wars trivia if you don't, embrace all the little side characters and stories. Let's put it that way.
And what I liked about him, and what I like about what's going on in the Book of Boba Fett for the moment, is I like to see how the rest of the universe, or at least was dealing with it, without the Jedi, without the Sith, without the Empire, without the Republic. I like how the common people act.
I think we might, once we see another important protagonist or antagonist character show up in the show. It might not happen till like the last third, the last couple episodes, where whether it be Luke or Ahsoka or Han or Chewie or whatever, whoever it is, we might see them in a different place.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Or a different flashback that's not Sands of Tatooine or the Water of Kamino. We might see a different flashback going to Jabba's palace or other places, the Death Star, other places where, or maybe it was a Star Destroyer he was on, other places he may have been. I want to see, okay, we got Darth Vader and we got the bounty hunter scene. I want to see it happens like half hour before that or after that, or just even if it's one scene for 1 minute or 2 minutes. Those are the little throw-in things that I like about this show, the Mando show, the sequels, the prequels, the cartoons, anything that you call it. What's the word people use for fan pleasers or whatever it is? I love that stuff. I die for that stuff.
Oh, the fan service?
Fan service. That I only watch this because of the fan service. 90% of it is that. Like episode 2 we just watched. If two Jabbas and a Wookiee didn't walk around that corner, the episode was, it was just the same as the first episode. But because of that, it became like top level. This is why I stayed up till midnight to watch this shit. Like, this is exactly why.
Well, and why
I went back and watched that 15 minutes probably 8 times now because it's the best part so far.
Well, and when he goes to Tashi Station,
that was a great scene too.
There was no reason that didn't need to be Tashi Station. Cammy and Fix didn't need to be there. They didn't need to have that retro video game that's sitting there.
Playing the same game. Yeah.
Playing the same damn game.
Yeah. And
And
the lady and the man, I forget their names right now. But even on their table, there's two little metal things. I Googled what a power converter looks like. Those were power converters sitting on their table. I didn't know it till afterwards, but that's even more cool now.
Martez, that's right, the Martez sisters. Yeah, and that's, again, the amount of work that goes into these, and I get that some people don't like, some people were attacking the fight scenes. Well, Boba Fett is 41 years old. Tamara is 61.
Mm-hmm.
So when me and John were talking earlier about this, we were like, just put their helmets on and then let the stunt people take over.
I think we'll see a little more stuntman and future.
Oh, he didn't have any problem with at Echo at Tashi Station.
No, I don't think
guy's ass.
Yeah, I think we've seen a stuntman in every big fight scene, because if you slow it down, you can see it's like a dude in a bald cap. Like people pointing out, these haters are pointing out the little things, right? Like, oh, look, she's wearing running shoes or something, right? Like from the prop department. But I really think I want to see him fight with his helmet on more. I know it's harder as an actor or a stunt person, but most did it pretty good.
Well, and I think it's they need to get back to that a little bit, just to waylay some of this. But people are ripping on the music. It's like, I kind of like the music. I thought it was pretty cool.
I liked it too. I like that it was not the Mandalorian music. It was, I don't know, it had a little more tribal kind of feel to it, because they were, after so far, dedicated to a tribal theme with the Tuscans and Sand People. So I like that the music has gone a little bit tribal, but I guarantee you that music will change. We will see a brand new song if, Bosk shows up, or if, Fennec changes his helmet to green or blue or another. Well, a new song will come, and we'll be. I don't think we've got that one song yet that we like from the Mando. I don't think we've got it yet. There is a theme.
I love the theme. I think the theme is cool.
Yeah. But it's the same Ludwig guy, so I have confidence he'll make some good music.
Yeah, it's almost Polynesian.
Sure, yeah.
Sea shanty type stuff, and I think it fits it really well. Star Wars works fine without the Force or Jedi.
Well, we haven't seen yet. We haven't seen a lot of
hate the Tuscans now. They're getting a whole nother show of Tuscans coming up with Obi-Wan.
We haven't seen a lot of blaster fire.
Yeah.
Which is something in every movie. Blaster fire, and then the lightsaber every once in a while. But the blaster fire, the green and red lasers. I need to see some of those, I think, pretty soon.
Well, there was quite a lot of gunfire in this episode.
Yeah, there's a lot more with the laser rifles.
Quite a few people. I mean, those banthas, man, they lost a couple good banthas there.
Yeah, and it only took one shot. Some of them.
Yeah,
some of them went down with one shot.
That's everybody goes down in one shot in Star Wars, unless you're a named hero
or you're Fennec.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she was going down. She was on the ground.
I think she was a robot before she got shot. That's why she's not dead.
That could be.
Because any of the Star Wars character got shot in the belly, died, as far as I know. They can live. Chewie lived off a shot in the arm.
Yeah.
Nobody lived off a shot to the belly from a Star Wars blaster that I know of. I could be wrong.
No. Kylo took a lightsaber to the chest.
He took a couple of lightsaber slashes. He did. From both Finn and
our new character that everybody wants to put their hopes and dreams on is Black Carston.
Yeah, and what do you think? He'll end up being an ally or a villain for Boba to fight?
Well, he's already an ally.
But I think he will. I don't know. I don't see Boba Fett fighting him. But weirdly, I see that Tuscan female fighting him for some reason. Or Bosk. It's just someone else that is going to be epic.
There's enough. See, I think that there's enough. What are they? Teonosians? The Bosk people?
Yeah, Trandoshans. Yeah.
We have Trandoshans. That's right. Soon. We have never pulled all the way around that shot from the trailers of that table of them. What do you want to bet Bosk is at the other end of that table?
Or standing at the door. Good point, Chris. I never thought of that, but I
think
did
he's a
think that when we
boss.
see those people is the episode we see Bosk.
Yeah. And I think Bosk comes up either this episode or the next. I think he's going to pop up quicker than we think, because I honestly think episode 5 is where we see Han Solo.
I'm going to call Han Solo as the last scene in chapter 7. Kind of like
that would I'm going to curse. That would
and I think we'll see his feet.
Crazy.
His feet pan up to his ass, and then we'll hear Harrison's voice. Hey, you remember me? Or something. Boba. And then credits. And then we're all like, "Rah!" Han Solo returns in the Book of Han Solo. I don't know.
That happens.
Something crazy will happen in the final scene, and we'll all change our mind. All the haters will change their mind.
No, they'll flip out that he showed up for that, and I'll join them. That he showed up for 20 seconds, and that was all we got of him. Well, another thing from episode 1 that they were all pissy about was him getting out of the Sarlacc pit. Why didn't it looked too weird?
Too fast.
Too fast.
I heard people say it was too fast.
He was inside the intestines of something. It's not like it was a cave that you just walked around in, and everybody's like, "Oh, well, I'm in the Sarlacc pit now." Oh.
And how exciting would the movie or the show be if it was 13 minutes of a guy crawling up sand or something?
Yeah. And everybody's focused on that stormtrooper. Who in the hell cares why that trooper's in there? What I would have liked to have seen?
We'll find out why.
When he pulls that breath cable out, I would have liked the trooper to have tried to move his arm up so that we knew that trooper was still alive.
I don't think he was. I think the trooper
I'm pretty sure he wasn't, but I would have shot it like that.
I think the trooper was there long before Boba Fett got there, and I think Kenobi put him there, and we'll see it in the Kenobi show as a little.
Thank you.
Here you go, all you haters.
That is exactly what I thought when they started yelling. I'm saying, but the Kenobi show will take place before this, and not that much further. Only 10, 15 years maybe, because we're not really sure when Kenobi's set yet.
No, but we know he's alive. So
yeah.
So he's not alive now during Book of Boba, so it's not now.
No.
It's obviously before. But sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I forget what I was going to say now. No, with that stormtrooper and the oxygen, I just want to point out, hopefully Blue Harvest Mark can watch this on a replay if he's not in here. He was kind of saying it was gasoline, and he was sucking out gasoline and blowing it out to burn a hole through it. I'm like, why would the stormtrooper be inhaling gasoline for any reason at all? It was oxygen. It was the oxygen sound.
Yeah.
You hear from Vader or any other hose that unplugs.
Through the role-playing games and stuff like that, we know that stormtrooper uniforms are literally self-sustaining systems.
I didn't pack on their back know that, but I understood that. Yeah.
Yeah, the little pack on their back is actually an air filtration system. It has a cooling system in it.
And same with Boba's helmet.
Yeah.
Like when he takes his helmet off, it goes like Darth Vader's does.
Yeah. Nice. And then when you take it off, but we kind of lost that in A New Hope because they just take their helmets off and it doesn't disconnect. And we kind of lost the feeling of that through even the sequel trilogy.
Well, Mando's helmet didn't make a sound when he took it off, so
no,
it was a little different.
But it should have. That's if anybody's going to complain, then you should complain about the small stuff that, obviously those are self-contained units, and that's what he was getting. But everybody's like, well, why'd that guy have oxygen? Because they've always had oxygen. You haven't seen it.
Sure. Even like they got space troopers and ones that fly now, so you got to figure out they got some kind of system of breathing.
What's up, Matt? How you doing?
How you doing,
Matt? Man, just watching the snow come down. You guys getting it up in Denver?
No, not yet. It's cloudy here, but not yet.
Where are you at, Matt?
That's right. Colorado Springs.
Oh, okay. I'm in Vancouver. We got a little bit of snow coming down.
Oh, geez, you guys got dumped on like Christmas.
We did at Christmas. We got a foot, and then we got a half a foot of rain the next day, and it almost went away.
Yeah, they were saying parts of Washington got 26 inches of rain yesterday.
Yeah, that was like us too.
They're making up for that drought they had over the summer.
And then it all froze.
I don't think it was to the chest, John. It was to the gut, which was still pretty bad. Seeing what
Oh yeah,
what
Chewie
the
shot him. Chewie shot Kylo.
the bowcaster was doing in The Force Awakens.
Finn sliced Kylo and Rey sliced Kylo, so Kylo got smashed up really good.
And Finn took a lightsaber to the back.
we must agree that Kylo obviously went into back to tanks every time to heal, but he had different kind of fiberglass looking healing going on. So they introduced another new healing system.
They were stitching him up.
Yeah. Well, and that's another thing that they were.
But why didn't he just go in the back of tank?
Yeah. Why does Boba have to go into the bank attacks all the time?
Well, I think there's something going on with him. I think because of the Sarlacc, the stomach acid, and everything else, it's a much more systemic problem than getting cut.
Yeah.
He's addicted.
I mean, you got to think the reason Luke was in the back to tank on Hoth was because it wasn't because he was hit by a Wampa. It was the exposure that
he got hit by a Buick.
Yeah, he got in a car accident. That's the only reason that's
that's true.
But yeah, and so maybe because people were like, oh, whatever, and I'm like, well, what about the gases that were inside there? Maybe they got into his lungs or something. It clearly scarred him because he looks different.
You look at him; he's completely scarred. But now, if you look at him, like in the flashbacks, he's scarred. When you see him in the Mandalorian at first, he's still scarred up. But now that he's doing this whole back to thing, it's healing him.
Yeah,
and he's got a nice tan.
Yeah,
and he looks a little more buff now.
Two sons, man.
Hey,
he's a little. Well, he keeps taking his helmet off, so he must be getting tan on the dome.
He has no hair. I mean, come on, dude. Put some lotion on that or something.
My thing is, I still think that Stormtrooper was alive. I would have liked to have seen him move because the Sarlacc, you're supposed to be alive for like 1,000 years, just in pain. That's like what.
Now I'll go with if
Rick. Stay alive
I think Rick's right.
I was thinking is that there's a chemical in the stomach acid that actually keeps you alive, which is just even more gruesome.
That would be horrible. If Rick's right,
that's the whole thing.
Dumped in there during the Obi-Wan show, then he should be dead by now. That'd be like 10 or 15 years.
Yeah,
I would have liked to see him move too.
Because Obi-Wan went back to rescue Max Rebo.
Well, if you think about if you watch in Return of the Jedi, I mean, it's kind of gruesome. It's muted down, but it is still kind of gruesome. Is when they're over the Sarlacc, you can hear screaming.
Oh yeah.
So that was the one thing about that scene I didn't like. I was like, but then again, it's Disney Plus, so I kind of figured out, it's like
you can hear.
It felt a
Willem scream.
I'm just, but I mean, I wanted to hear like people in there just like in pain, or they're being tortured for 1,000 years. It's horrible.
Or if that trooper had actually still been alive.
If he moved and he's
flowing through, he could have said, "Take me with you."
Yeah,
well, he probably would have.
Or just doing a whole alien thing and kill me.
Then we find out it was Cody, and Cody's dead, and now Cody's dead.
Oh,
yeah, it was a Tamora Morrison under the helmet too. Watch.
That'd have freaked him out.
That's probably why that's not important. It's only there. It's there for a reason.
Yeah.
There's a reason. There's a stormtrooper there. It wasn't so Boba can get oxygen.
Because that wasn't necessarily
why are stormtroopers there? Then when
there were stormtroopers on Tatooine for 20 years.
Yeah,
we'll find out why it was there. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
it's possible. If we don't get an explanation, I'm not going to lay awake. I don't lay awake all night. Or I don't lay awake all night wondering why there's a stormtrooper in a Sarlacc.
Exactly. Or
stormtroopers walking all over that planet.
Why didn't Boba Fett stop the Jawas from taking his armor?
Well, he was out of it.
He was busy dying.
Yeah, I think he was 10% away from dying, I think.
Yeah. And like, the Boba Fett I know wouldn't have allowed that, or he would have instantly hunted them down. How?
He got his ass
He's
kicked
walking
by
in the desert, looking like Charlton Heston from Planet of the Apes, that white jumpsuit. And
he got bleached in a Sarlacc.
Which is exactly right. Because there were some scenes I noticed, parts of it were still like a light blue.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, oh my God, man. Like, because I was wondering, why isn't it gray or blue? Because it was gray. It was a gray blue color. But parts of it still are like that was interesting. So it did fade. Maybe now we'll find out how many months or weeks he was down there.
Well, he was down there a while.
Yeah, I'd say he was probably down there about a week.
Or
because
more.
I think longer. When he
Yeah,
gets
I
out,
think he was there
the
for a
sailboat is
while
just not
because
smoking anymore.
yeah, there's no
No, not at
smoldering
all.
on the wreckage or anything like that, which leads me to believe it had been a while.
And
At
we
least a
might
couple of
finally
weeks.
get some information like that, because I'd like to also know how long he's been with the Tuscans.
I think he's with Tuscan. I think he's with the Tuscans for years.
Yeah, for sure. All those
I think
years.
he's with them until at some point he decides to go find his armor, and he's heading to Mos Pelgo where Cobb Vanth is.
Yeah.
But all that stuff from Chapter 9 of Mandalorian happens.
Because
Then he starts following Din Djarin around.
We don't really know how long Cobb Vanth had the gear. Did he have it a week? Did he have it a year?
Well,
I think he had it a long time.
He had it several years. Because you think Mandalorian's taking place like 5 years after.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we're about 5-6 years at that point where we're at with in Mandalorian season 2,
Yeah.
and so I think he got it because like when you see when Mos Pelgo got taken over by those thugs, it was right at the end of Return of the Jedi. It was right when the word got out that the Emperor was dead, the Empire was falling.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he was out. It was only like a few days later where where he made the deal with the Jawas. So he's had it a good 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, you're right. I think we'll find out in another flashback how certain people got saved from that barge, whether it be Bib, Fortuna. I think they'll teach us that. At the same time, we might see some other characters get saved or still be alive, or droids.
Yeah.
Whatever,
Well, I saw a lot of people complaining about Max Rebo, and I'm like, well, if you saw Robot Chicken, man, I got a gig tonight.
Yeah. Well, and old EU explained all that. New EU just hasn't yet.
Yeah.
And so,
I think what they're going to do
Palace,
is just like what they do with most everything else is you're just going to pull stuff from Legends. I mean, there was so much in like Rise of Skywalker that was, I mean, they pretty much just took the story of Dark Empire and put it on film.
They tried.
To a point.
I'm sure it had escape crafts.
Yeah, well, I think it was like there was like he just jumped on like an emergency skiff. Bib Fortuna saw it going wrong and he took off.
That's exactly how it's explained in Tales of Jabba's Palace.
Yeah,
that's right.
Is that he saw and
he wasn't the only one who jumped on it.
Luke's saber light, he knew they were screwed, and him and a whole bunch of other people, including Dengar and Bosk, got on his personal skiff and left and took off, and that was just a couple minutes before it blew up.
Yeah.
And we might see that.
That'd be cool to see, but I don't think
all
we
the
need
flashbacks can't be the same.
I don't think they're going to touch that in this.
That's
with
too
only
far of a
5
flashback.
episodes. Yeah, they got 5 episodes left, and we've already taken Bib Fortuna out.
Well, and I like some of the farther flashbacks, like when he's doing it with when he's a kid.
Yeah.
And that was another thing everybody had a conniption fit about. How come the background doesn't look the same? They could have just cut that from the film and put it in. Well true,
like,
we're seeing it from his remembrance, not our remembrance of the film.
Was it on Paul's breakdown when they were talking about they took it out? Because if you think about it, like guys like us are just gonna pause it and stare at everything in the background. So that's why you don't see like the reek in the arena and stuff.
Yeah, or I thought they didn't care, or that literally we're seeing it as Boba remembers it, and why would he remember that creature there? His concern,
his focus was on his father,
his dad, and the helmet.
It was also
a like dream. When he's sitting. I like the one where he's on Camino, and he's looking out the window, and Slave One goes by, and you see Daniel. Hopefully, Daniel got some cash for that. His reflection in the window, and it was very much like Omega's watching the Bad Batch leave.
Sure.
From the Bad Batch episode.
Sure. Daniel Logan was in the credits too.
Was he?
Yeah, because he said, "I filmed nothing for this."
Yeah.
But if they're used as likeness, they're going to credit him.
Yeah. They'll credit him because if he was on there long enough. But I was like, oh, I hope that he got some cash and that just wasn't an extra scene they threw in from somewhere.
No, they hired an actor who looked like him, and they filmed that scene again in the stagecraft. There's a reason why they didn't put the reek or the other dead creatures there. There's a reason. Or his dad's head, like.
Well, that thing, if you watch Attack of the Clones, you see the head fly out of the helmet.
Yeah.
So, but I still love. There's like a meme out there where they show like it's a picture from Attack of the Clones where Boba's picking up the helmet and the head falls out. It's so messed up.
Yeah, Dave. That's why I think it was at least a week he was in there.
Burnt.
Because
he was there a while because you got to think it was time for him. He was enough for him to be really hurt. And you desperate. See. Another thing you see is if you look at the jetpack, there's a big hole in it, so he couldn't just fly out.
No, Luke.
So they did a good job. Or when Han hit it.
And what I've learned too over the past week, because people were complaining about, why didn't he fly out? Blah 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 blah. In the movie, Han Solo hit him with the gaffy stick and damaged it, and he took off. But in actually making the movie, they filmed Luke did it with a lightsaber. But something didn't work. The scene got lost or destroyed, or it didn't fit, and they changed it to be Han Solo did it. So if you look at the repaired damage to that backpack, there's no way a piece of metal did it. Like it was burnt and charred and sliced. So originally it was intended to be Luke that did that to the backpack. So that's something that not everyone knows.
I do like when Cobb Vanth has it, you see it patched.
Yeah.
I thought they did a great job. I mean, they do pay attention to a lot of detail.
Because they know there's too many people like us. Or
we're picking it apart.
They're going to pick every single, nit. Well, he just he repainted and repaired all his, armor except for that dent in his head. Why didn't he what does that mean? Why is that so important to him?
We'll find out. That's the Filoni episode.
I'd like to see that. I would like to see the scene. I'm hoping it happens season 2 of the Bad Batch. I mean, if it happens animated, it happens animated. Is the fight between Boba Fett and Cad Bane? It wouldn't make narrative sense, right? As from what we know now, I mean, we're 2 episodes in. I don't see that making narrative sense if they show that fight in a flashback in Book of Boba Fett, but I could totally see
Why not?
Just because they're kind of more focused on his time with the Tusken Raiders and stuff.
But they're also focusing on him as a child.
They focus on him and his father as a child.
They never once showed his father.
But but they've shown him dealing with his father's loss both times. His father leaving in Slave One, probably at the time where he's going to Coruscant to kill Padme.
Yep.
And excuse me. But the other time is him picking up his father's helmet after he's passed, after Mace Windu decapitated him. It's all about his losing his father.
Yeah, but Filoni also wants to put a stamp on this series. So when he partially writes, I think it's episode 6, I guarantee you at least one cartoon character we will see live action that we haven't seen before. So why is the perfect opportunity to show that deleted scene from the cartoons that Filoni made where Cad Bane and Boba have a shoot-off and they both shoot each other in the head. So Boba got the dent because of Cad Bane. It's not officially canon yet, but it will be, and because it's a deleted scene. And Cad Bane has a robot head because Boba Fett shot him in the head. And we just saw Cad Bane's robot head in the Bad Batch for the first time. So we will see that scene where Boba Fett and Cad Bane, that deleted scene in cartoons.
The only
why
way
not just do it live action in a 38-second
if you see that,
it's important.
If you see it in if you see it in Book of Boba Fett, it's because Omega's going to be in the show.
I'll guarantee you she's in the show. She's been in the show already, I think.
No,
I don't think so.
No. Omega will not be.
And I don't think she's going to be in it because
why do you think
her story is in the
Mayor
Bad Batch?
Hammerhead said running a family is a lot harder than being a bounty hunter. What
family is hard.
Yeah, because
he's talking about Boba Fett's family. So he
doesn't know who Boba Fett is.
They don't really know.
He doesn't know Jango.
They don't know his backstory.
I know that you don't know, and you don't know, and I don't know. That's all I know.
You know that
I like to speculate.
I know that no random mayor on Mos Espa knows that Boba Fett is a clone of Jango Fett.
Yeah, the only reason. Yeah, the only reason
that.
The only one people are going to know that are people that were in the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
And
'Cause
like
even the
Bo-Katan,
Mandalorians didn't know it.
Bo-Katan knows because she fought a lot of clones and she knew. I think she knew
Exactly.
Jango Fett. I think they in dialogue. I don't know. It's been so long since I've actually
Yeah, I
sat
don't
down
think
and watched the
Django is
Clone
ever in
Wars.
any of the cartoons.
He's not.
I think
He's
there's
not,
some
but
things
Bo-Katan
But he was a
allowed to put in
Mandalorian
cartoons.
foundling.
But as far as the family, he only has him and his sister, and that's it. And
is Omega.
they're not going to show her because they're not going to ruin season 2 of the Bad Batch.
Yeah, because
How would
they
they
need her
ruin
to.
that? It would just show
Because
she's
you need
not
to
dead.
think that her life's in danger at some point.
Yeah. Then in any
If you
episode,
see her in Book
they're
of
like,
Boba Fett,
oh,
she's gonna live.
she lives.
We know she's
'Cause
gonna live.
We've already seen her in the Book of Boba Fett 20 years later, so she lives. It doesn't matter. It's kind of like in the Clone Wars when we saw Boba Fett. Well, we knew that he really wasn't in any danger.
Which cartoon character do you think Dave Filoni is going to put in his episode? You both get one pick.
I would say Rex.
Yeah, because Tamara's there, so I'd say Rex.
Do you think Dave Filoni would be like, yeah, I got Rex in a show that the actors
got
already
Rex in
working
live action?
We already have Rex in live action from Return of the
Return
Jedi.
of the Jedi. But I mean,
I don't
but
think
not
Dave's
back
gonna put-
canoning it. I mean, you're actually going to have him in there.
Yeah,
gonna-
I don't think.
I
Dave
just hope
Filoni
they
would
get the
pick
hair
that.
and beard right.
So I'll give you one. You get one cartoon character that Dave Filoni will put in this show.
Rex.
Rex.
Rex is not a cartoon character. He's from the
Rex.
movies. He's from the movies.
But he's
Dave
also
Filoni did not
big in the
create Rex.
He's the star of the Clone Wars.
That was they put him in. They put him in. They said that's him in Return of the Jedi after he became very popular in Clone Wars. So he's still a animated character that it's
Did Dave
debatable
Filoni
on.
create Captain Rex?
Yeah,
No, he didn't. He was a George Lucas character in.
he worked with him with George Lucas and made Captain.
So
Rex
which
for the
cartoon character that Dave Filoni created will be in the Book of Boba Fett? Do you think?
I'm still going with Rex.
You can't pick Mace Windu or Django or Rex because they're in live action form.
Rex is the animated character that I think will show up. That's
okay.
it. Sorry,
Because
that's where I'm at.
Filoni, first of all, there were no clone troopers in the episode 2 or episode 3. There were no uniforms. They were all CG. So they're all computer generated to start with. And we didn't know Rex is not Rex in episode 2 or 3.
Yeah,
Rex
you don't
is
see
only
Rex. You see
because
Cody.
of the-
You don't see
Okay,
Rex.
I got you there. You
We
got me
see
there.
Cody. We don't really see
You
Rex.
see Cody. I get you there, but it just
I don't
doesn't
think
seem like an
because we already
original
have-
character
they have
enough
to save.
to be proud to be putting in live action.
Yeah, they have to save Thrawn for the Ahsoka series.
Yeah.
They're saving what's his name from Rebels for the Ahsoka series.
Ezra's going to be in that.
Ezra's going to be there. Now maybe you get Sudoka, whatever her name is, shows up in this because she was alive in Return of the Jedi as well.
Oh, Ahsoka?
No, who is the tendril lady from Rebels?
Oh, Hera, Syndulla.
Hera was alive during the Battle of and all the way through to the Rise of Skywalker. If you look at the ship,
if she's still flying the Ghost.
If I have to pick, I'll pick her and Chopper. If it's specifically created characters for cartoons, I'll take her and Chopper.
And
I think they're saving her for Ahsoka too.
Do you think all the 25-year-old fans will lose their be so happy if Rex or Chopper show up?
I think a lot of clone.
Well, I don't know. They lost their shit when Chopper showed up in Rogue One.
I thought that was cool.
When her ship was sitting there,
Yeah.
and it was obviously part of the attack on.
Just think about what a bunch of 20-year-olds are going to TikTok about the next day. Like I know what they like.
Talking about this show, I can tell you that, or any other Star Wars product.
They're watching this show, but they're only because Kenobi's not out yet.
All they're concerned about
want
right
the
now
Kenobi
is
show.
trying
That's what
to
they want.
stop
The Kenobi
game
show.
of
They want
clips
Kenobi
from
show.
being made.
They want good-looking Kenobi and Anakin. That's all they want. I look forward to it too, but it's not my most anticipated Disney Plus Star Wars product.
I think this is all time. Well, with the exception of the Kenobi show, I think the Kenobi show is its own thing. It's the Kenobi, a Star Wars story movie they were going to make. They just broke it into, made it a little longer, and put it on Disney Plus instead of a theatrical release. But I think Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka, and some of the others, they're all tied. I think they're trying to tell Timothy Zahn's Heir to the Empire series.
In a way.
And I think, honestly, this whole Book of Boba Fett, this is all setting him up to play the Talon Card character from that series. That's where I'm at with this.
I hadn't thought that Hera would actually be much better.
That's right. Yeah, Cassian Andor. Yeah.
Because she could be the one actually running the.
That's a good point, David.
Republic spy network.
Yeah, the Cassian one is the longest one.
Well, that's got to be before. Well, I guess because Rebels took place before
Rebels,
Rogue One,
right up like a year before.
It kind of leads into Rogue One, yeah.
Yeah, so it kind of leads into Rogue One, and then
it depends on how far back they're going with Cassian Andor.
Yeah,
but I could see her showing up in that, at least in some kind of cameo role, like a small role.
I don't even think Favreau's watched all the cartoons, so I don't think it's.
No, that's why he has Filoni around.
Yeah, I think there's one episode that has cartoon characters in it, and that's it. They're not throwaway characters; they'll make a live action debut on the Disney Plus that all the kids are like, oh, I can't believe.
Because Cassian was a member of the
Baby Jabba or whatever.
His family were members of the Separatists during the Clone Wars. So he might have even met Hera's father then. And maybe it's Hera's father, General Syndulla, who actually turned him and his family from being Separatists into being with the Republic.
Yeah,
It depends on how far back in the Cassian show we're actually going.
Yeah, but there's some point, because if you watch in Rebels, Hera and her father did have some sort of falling out.
Well, we saw that in Bad Batch. Her and her dad really started breaking up in the Bad Batch.
Kinda, I think, but I think something it's going to be worse. It'll be like the death of her mother.
Mm.
I don't think any of those characters.
And
are relevant at all.
And you'll see that I think you'll see it in the Bad Batch. I think they're relevant to Bad Batch.
That's it.
They're relative to Rebels and Bad Batch.
Hera was technically, she's in Rogue One. She's at least mentioned because over the PA they say General Syndulla.
If we right now just pretended that all the Clone Wars, all the Rebels, all the Bad Batch cartoons never existed, every live action Star Wars we've ever watched would be the exact same, and there'd be no plot holes, because none of those characters have added anything. This is my opinion. To the overall, the Skywalker story.
Well, they can't have added anything to episodes 4, 5, and 6. They came after.
But you know what I mean, right? Like a lot of people really like Ahsoka. Ahsoka adds nothing to Star Wars lore in any way.
Until her show comes out on the Mandalorian.
That's going to change this year when you see the Ahsoka show.
It's just something that if they didn't exist, I don't think Boba Fett would be different, or the Mando show would be much different, or
Boba Fett wouldn't exist without those cartoons keeping the Star Wars alive.
Boba Fett existed before all those cartoons.
Boba Fett was non-existent as a character since 1983.
Yes, and the cartoons
when he died in the saw pit, and that was the end of him. And nobody gave a fuck about him until episode 2, and then they reintroduced him again.
I always thought he lived.
Of course, I read all the stories.
Action, because cool action figure wise, when I was, that age.
He was alive.
I wasn't putting that action figure away
until Disney changed the rules and said, "Okay, all this is now legend." So until that point, he was still alive to most of us.
That's because Star Wars got stupid and started this vast intergalactical species 8124 attack thing, and tried to, throw a moon at Chewbacca to kill him, and all this other stupid, just crazy off the end stuff.
Yeah, that was the thing. It was like it reminded me of like the new Jedi. The Yuuzhan Vong kind of reminded me of like playing as a kid. It's like all of a sudden everybody ended up with the no, this weapon's more powerful. And they ended up like I'm kind of glad that a lot of that went to Legends. Because it's like you guys destroyed the galaxy here, but they got to buy another galaxy. They looked at
Star Trek and they were like, "Oh, look, Star Trek has the Borg, and Star Trek and the aliens are aliens. And so, what if we put the Star Trek, these horrible aliens, all together, and then
the unstoppable force,
more like Star Trek?" But it's Boba was huge in the old EU, but that doesn't matter. So is a lot of stuff. Just erasing, that's like, saying, oh, well, Indiana Jones brought nothing to Raiders of the Lost Ark, and if he hadn't been there, everything would have just been fine. And so we didn't need any Indiana Jones movies or anything. Could have just erased it.
True.
but there were 23 movies before Raiders of the Lost Ark. So Indiana Jones did exist. And erasing the Clone Wars, first of all, the Clone Wars had basis and impact on episode 3.
I did like the Clone Wars, the original Tarkovsky animated. Not because of the animation style. I thought that was cool. It was what was hot at the time. But it was a story we heard about but never heard. There wasn't a Clone Wars novel that I read in my 20s. There wasn't a series of comic books called The Clone Wars. There was the cartoon that Dave Filoni and George Lucas made. So it was a cool story. I'm glad we got that story. I for sure am. Then they kind of told it again.
I always figured, when we were kids, I thought the Clone Wars was like, the Clone Wars played out in the Ice Pirates movie, if you want a deep cut.
Yeah, we didn't know nothing about it, right?
Everyone's just making more copies of themselves to throw in the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we didn't know what they're talking about.
That was like in Heir to the Empire, the Jorah Sabaoth character.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be a clone. That was supposed to be a clone of Obi-Wan originally, and George Lucas, because he had the control of his. No, you're not going to do that. You got to change that.
Yeah, one story I've always loved and wanted to see live action or cartoon. I'm okay with a cartoon by Filoni. Is the Shadows of the Empire story. Mm-hmm. Another Tim Zahn story, similar. Well, it's right before Heir to the Empire. It's all the same story and characters. So Thrawn and Joruus C'baoth and the Yasselamaris or whatever they're called, but IG-8 and Boba Fett are in Shadows of the Empire. The Prince Izor guy.
Wait, Shadows of the Empire? No, that takes place between Empire and Jedi.
Yes, and then Heir to the Empire is after Jedi, correct?
And that's all been kind of retconned in that new
in the new Thrawn books.
Bounty Hunter.
But they're there. But if you watch
Empire has good stories with Boba Fett and IG-88, that Dash Rendar kind of Han Solo type character.
The knockoff Han Solo character.
So we haven't seen a lot of things pulled from that Shadows of the Empire and Heir to the Empire, like you're saying, into the canon Star Wars universe. But I think we will, including characters and.
Well, Prince Zizor's been pulled in. He was pulled in.
Yeah, he was in the last season of Clone Wars.
Yes,
yeah,
and
he was working for Maul.
His species, the Faline, look very similar to the Trandoshans, and I believe they're in the Book of Boba Fett trailers. Like they're both sitting at this table. I don't think it's just boss.
I'll have to see the whole
scene. I think that other species,
it's kind of hard to tell from the trailer,
are there.
That would be cool if it was.
Well, they're going to be
because once they brought Grand Admiral Thrawn in and stuff, then we were all waiting for Mara Jade and other people to pull in. And I still think Mara's coming.
I don't know. I think Ahsoka's going to kind of fill the Mara Jade role, other than.
I agree.
Eventually, marry.
I think there's room. There's plenty of room for both of them. Ahsoka's on her.
I love Mara Jade. Heck, that's why I love playing the Mysteries of the Sith game, because for most of the game you're playing as Mara Jade.
Yeah,
and
it would be great. I would love. It would be really cool if they would do a Star Wars What If series. Which is basically going back and doing several of the books, like Shadows of the Empire, or the Disciple book with Ahsoka, with Ventress.
They called it Infinities.
Yeah, I got a bunch of those comics.
Yeah, I got those. Were great.
There was like, what if
Han Solo didn't get frozen in carbonite?
I want a series.
No, I would love to see that too.
20 comics.
I was like, I love the Marvel What If comics when I was younger. The only thing was no matter what happened, Frank Castle always became the Punisher.
And I don't mind the animated stuff. Like if they wanted to make this Book of Boba all animated, I'd still be a big fan of it, because the animation, like even with all the Star Wars cartoons Filoni's worked on,
I'm still going with my theory. You're getting Talon Card, but it's going to be spelled Boba Fett.
All the way from the original Clone Wars, and then everyone then the last season of Rebels was good animation, and then Bad Batch was great animation. Like it's getting better and better. That there's a lot of stories they can tell in animation. Even those Galaxy of Adventures, the little kid shorts on YouTube.
Yeah,
great animation. Spider-Verse, great animation. One of the best movies that Sony ever made. and it was
Yeah.
a animated cartoon.
Yeah, but then you get Star Wars Resistance, and I can't even watch it because of the animation.
Yeah, that one.
Resistance was horrible.
That was
I don't
hard to
think it was the
watch.
animation. I think it was.
And I'm
the
not
whole
saying, I'm
story
not
and the
knocking the
characters.
show, but I've just had trouble watching it because of the animation style.
Not just
Yeah,
the
my
animation,
least
but it sold itself as like Hot Wheels in space for Star Wars.
Mm.
Like, what are they racing for? What is the point of this racing? How is this helping defeat the First Order? What? I don't know. It lost me several episodes in, and I never went back.
It did.
So I do need to finish that show.
It had Horatio Sands in it, though.
Yeah. My kid liked it.
Yeah. And it
They're
was
all for kids. All the cartoons
yeah,
are made
that's
for
fine.
kids. I gotta say that first off.
Oh, yeah. I
They're
mean,
not
it's
made
Bad
for us.
Batch. I mean, yeah,
They're made
I
for
watch
kids.
Bad Batch because I watch it with my kid. You know, and it's like the
I
same
don't.
thing.
I sit and watch it because I love the animation and the story.
I don't have
No,
kids.
it's fine.
I watched it because it said Star Wars on it.
I mean, that's why
Yeah.
That's why I don't hate on the sequel trilogy that much, because it allowed me to take my kids to the theater to see Star Wars.
Well, and every generation has their own. We're
Yeah,
OG.
true.
And I think,
So,
and it's
you know,
like,
and then I know
But
a
if-
lot of millennials who it's the Phantom Menace. That's their
Yeah.
Star Wars.
oh yeah.
And
now-
that's who they're
Well, also-
concentrating on now. They're
But also
concentrating on
think, but
making
also
money
think
from
of
the
like
25-year-olds.
when the original, when the sequel, the prequels, I mean, first came out. I mean, look how hated it was. I mean, there wasn't
Yeah.
social media back then, but you know, you go on the
They were
internet,
so
and it was
hated
like
that
it was
they were the
hated.
number 1, 2, and 3 movies of all time at the time. They were so hated.
Well, no, but I mean, but
Hundreds
people,
of millions of dollars.
The Force Awakens
what I'm
is a
talking
horrible
Yeah, but that's
movie
when they
that's
were
basically a
making.
remake of
But that's
Episode
when they
4,
were
but it's
making
never so
songs
good
like
all
George
time.
Lucas raped my childhood. I mean, it was.
Yeah, but they
Yeah.
still went and saw the movie 6 times.
Oh, I
Those
went and
people
saw it a
that
bunch of
made that
times. I
video that
liked
said
it.
George Lucas raped me. Like,
Yeah,
they
But
still
I'm
spent
like-
thousands of dollars.
Hey, you know,
and so
I'm
much
like-
so that Ahmad Best almost killed himself.
yeah,
Jake
exactly.
Lloyd started on drugs and is in jail.
Yeah,
and
because
George
people
Lucas
hounded
sold
him.
the franchise because he didn't want to deal with the hate anymore.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is now. But my point that I was trying to make was like, you know, when the Clone Wars series came out and you watch that, it fleshed out, you know, the prequels a lot more. And
Mhm.
as these kids that grew up with the prequels are now growing up, you know, they're really remembered a lot more fondly. I still think it was a mistake for George Lucas to do everything himself and he surrounded himself with people that were unwilling or unable to tell him no.
And
I
he's
think
even
that
said that.
suffered.
He said in the end,
Yeah.
he became the Empire, and people were afraid to tell him no.
Yeah, but that's the
And there were
thing.
several
There's a
things
still,
he-
but I mean, in the prequels, there's a really good story there. It's just it wasn't told in the best way because he's not a good script writer. He's not a good screenwriter. He's not
He
a
is an
good
incredible
director.
visual.
Exactly.
I
He's
think he
great
could have
with
had.
the main story, and he's a really good editor. But he's not a super director, and he's not good with people.
No, I mean he's
No, and
like,
I
I mean,
think at that time he was getting divorced and whatnot.
well, that
And
was
they
in
not-
that was Return of the Jedi.
Yes,
Yeah.
and she was a huge part of the
Oh
writing.
yeah,
of
no,
all
and
three
it's
of the
all brought
original
up in
Star Wars.
Empire of Dreams. Exactly, she
She
was very
basically
good
the
with it.
editing of his writing. Then other people had influence that directed and produced and stuff. But I think when it came to episode 1, 2, and 3, it was 110% George. If someone said, "Oh, maybe you should do this," no, it was 100%.
I don't think there
George.
was anybody telling him that.
You're right. I
That's
think
the
they
point.
But he
tried.
never threw anything
But-
away. Like
True.
episode 2 was supposed to have Sith witches in it. And
Yeah.
those Sith witches eventually became Mother Tarzan and in the Clone Wars. And if you look at Book of Boba Fett, this episode, in fact, that lean-to that he makes his gaffy stick in is an unused picture from Ralph
McQuarrie.
McQuarrie.
Yes, no. for
Yeah,
sure. We'll
I
see more of
love the
that.
deep
Throws
cuts like that.
nothing away.
Hey,
We'll
I
see more
still,
of that
I'm the one who
as
geeked
time
out
goes
in
on.
chapter 8 of The Mandalorian when the troop transport showed up.
Oh, yeah, wasn't that cool?
I was in.
What
Like,
about-
I was like, I got that toy.
Woo!
What about when
Exactly.
McQuarrie stormtroopers showed up in the Bad Batch?
Oh no, it was
Yeah.
fantastic. I loved it.
That was the best part of that whole series, in my opinion, because I'm a
Well,
fan of the art.
that's why
No,
I
as,
like
as a
Rebels so
Timothy
much.
Zahn fan, it was Mount Tantus at the end for me,
That was cool. It was obviously that. too.
and seeing Scorch. I'm a big
Yeah, that
Republican
was-
Mando guy. I love the video
Hopefully
games.
that was for no reason. He better be a big part of the next series. Like, otherwise,
I want to
don't
see them come back. I mean, they had a cameo
No
in
purpose.
Clone Wars, the Delta Squad, and I would love to see.
Well,
them
John, he
show
didn't
up
edit the first
more.
cut of Star Wars. He wasn't even in the country when that cut was made. That's why he had his wife recut it, because he was still shooting stuff when that first cut was made.
Yeah.
Plus, ILM hadn't even finished half the effects yet.
Yeah, there was no ILM at the time. Yeah.
It was.
He
crap.
was wearing. He was using like World War II gun camera footage.
Yeah, to say this is what I want it to look like. They're like,
look how it turned out, eh? Like, wow.
Oh yeah.
Still talking about it,
wait to
40
see
plus years
how
later.
far.
Amazing, man.
We already know a lot about this dude, but I want to see him and Boba react to each other more.
For sure.
I think they're gonna fight.
Who? Boba and who?
Black Kirsten.
Chrysanthemum. They kind of left. They kind of left on a sour note because Vader basically put them up against each other for a bounty, and Boba won out over him.
Well, they're gonna.
But we're also going to see him again, maybe in the Obi-Wan show, because he fights Obi-Wan.
That's where he gets his scar,
and that's where he gets his scar from.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how much. And now he's, of course, Dr. Afra's assistant guy for quite a while. So is she going to show up? Is that who is on the bike?
It's brilliant.
I don't think
call
so.
It writing. I'm going to call it brilliant marketing, because you all just talked about 4 different things that could lead because of this one black Wookiee that showed up. None of them might ever even happen, but it's cool to speculate, and that's exactly why Favreau put that in there. No other reason. So we all did this. Why is he there?
Who he is.
So we'll see him again. I think personally he'll be fighting someone else, and sadly I think he'll be fighting that female Tusken warrior for whatever reason, and I think that's how that'll be a scene where we all cry or something. I don't know. I just don't see him and Boba doing it, because I don't see either of them dying in this series. I don't see Boba dying.
Boba's not
going to die.
And I don't see the Black Cranston dying. I just don't see it happening.
He's a main character.
He's a cool character.
The Tusken Raider woman is great, but she's not a main anything. She hasn't been in anything but this show.
I disagree.
Well, what else has she been in?
The Bad Batch.
No, she
possibly
hasn't.
The Mandalorian. I think she's either the Armor or Omega.
No, she's neither.
She's a Tusken. She's not a Mandalorian.
She's a Mandalorian who doesn't remove her armor ever.
Tusken is just like Mandalorian. It's a way of life. It's not a species of alien.
No, but she's
the armorer. She's, if you look, honestly, I think she was part of Death Watch.
Yeah.
And she was also a Darth Maul loyalist if you look at her helmet.
Yeah.
Well, that's a theory.
She's also part of the cult. Not canon. Never remove her.
I'm just going by what I've observed.
Tuskens also have those same horns on their helmets.
Not quite the same.
Well,
it looks more Maul to me, and I think, but she has been around the Mandalorians a long time. As a matter of fact, she's with the Mandalorians at the same time as these flashbacks. She's on Navarro.
We don't know that. They didn't show her.
Or at least
she's only spoken twice.
But I think that that the Mandalorian Culver on Navarro has been there a while, and she's been there most of that time.
My other theory is that Omega is the Armorer, so that's why I have to use those 2 names, because it's going to be either one of them. That's my opinion. I like theories. I don't think it's an alien creature that dies and makes us all cry. I think it's someone else, kind of important. Hammerheads used the word family for a reason. Didn't use it for no reason. Star Wars today quoted it. Star Wars they tweeted a meme that said that exact quote: "Bounty hunter is much easier than running a family." So is that like a gangster family that he's talking about?
Yeah, because he's a crime lord who's taking over everything.
Yeah, that's why it's a good quote. It could have lots.
He's trying to be the head of the 5 families, man. We're in the Godfather territory here.
Yeah, this is a Godfather, Sopranos thing.
Yeah,
where he's trying to push his will on the mayor, and the mayor's pushing back because he knows the cousins are really in charge, not Boba Fett. Just because you sit on the chair does not mean you have the throne.
Yeah. God, that was cool when they showed up, though. I love
as he's sitting on a chair.
I was just,
Was it just me, or did they need like 2 more dudes? Like there should have been like 5 across.
They were kind of struggling.
There was 5 on either side, and there was 3 back and 3 in the front.
Ugh.
Yeah, and you
that's
saw
12 guys.
the things like dipping,
Or
and I'm like,
15 guys.
they need one more set of people. My God, those
Who
guys
wants
are
to be in the
strong.
middle,
A lot
though?
of core power.
They died. 4 of them died across the corner.
Oh yeah, they go around the corner, and that was all you need.
I never thought
You
on a
know.
hot day to wipe myself down with a rabbit.
Wasn't that hilarious?
I was like, I did like a double take. I was like, is he wiping himself with a rabbit?
I think at some point in this
it
series,
is. It's not a rabbit, but I mean,
Boba's going to
so
need
funny.
some allies that aren't a bunch of sand people and aren't 2 Gamorreans and a couple of droids.
I think they're setting up a
either
big.
all the Bad Batch shows up, or at least Omega, his sister, because at this point, I don't think Boba knows he has a sister.
Well, he won't know that
he's going to learn
season 2
about
of the
that.
Bad
Yeah,
Batch.
he's going to if he shows up in season 2 of the Bad, and I think he will. I think that's a foregone
Okay,
conclusion.
so you think maybe now Boba knows I have a sister?
He knows
Yeah.
Omega's out there somewhere at this point. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because they're not. If
I
they
don't think he
kill
does,
Omega,
no.
people will be pissed. So they're not going to kill her off in Bad Batch. They're going to let her live for a while.
so it should be
And
initial.
since this is 20 years in the future, both of them would be about 41.
Yeah.
And so, it would be nice to know where, where's
But
Watto? That's my
she's
question.
also enhanced. Boba was not enhanced. She was enhanced a little bit.
We don't know that.
Well,
They said it in the Bad
they
Batch.
did mention that in the Bad Batch.
Boba's
They also
an
took away the
unaltered
Y
clone?
chromosome.
She's an
Yeah,
altered.
they took away a
original.
ton of stuff. They might have taken away her aging thing. If she was there when the Bad Batch was born,
Well, she's pure.
You're right.
then
She doesn't
the same
have any
age
of
as
that
Boba Fett.
like the clones. She's not like a typical clone.
No,
Yeah,
she's
Same
like
thing
Boba
with
Fett.
same thing with Boba Fett. Boba Fett is pure genetic replication. There's no advanced aging or anything like that.
Yeah.
No,
Or-
Omega is an
and-
advanced. Not
and
advanced
Omega-
agent.
Omega doesn't
She's been,
have
like-
that rapid aging either. She's just
No.
she
She has
I know.
special powers.
has
They-
some kind of a special
Yeah.
ability. Yes, which
She's
we
an
don't know
empath.
what it is yet.
Yeah, she's empathic, is all we've seen so far.
Yeah.
She's very good at reading people.
And she's a
She's
very
very
quick
good at-
study.
Quick study. We don't know exactly what she is. We don't know if she's a Force user or not yet.
She's not a Force.
But
No chance, I don't think.
right, she picks up a gun and dead shot somebody in the head with never shooting a gun before. If she's not an empath, then she's Force sensitive because she can read people's thoughts and their
I don't think she can
emotions.
read- I don't think she can read thoughts.
She's done it
like
several
Boba,
times.
but she's.
I think
enhanced.
she's very. I think that's just because she's very observant.
She's very observant. She's an empath of some kind, whatever those are called in the Star Wars universe.
Isn't that just a
But-
person who cares about other people? You have empathy.
Uh,
It means you're
who
not an
has-
asshole, right?
Well, no, none of the clones seem to care about each other for anything except the Bad Batch, and even them, most of them don't care about each other. Look at Tech.
Rex and Cody and all those guys had empathy towards their
Once
their
they had their
bosses.
chips removed, they did a little bit, but not a lot.
Yeah, and not
They
when
saw
it was
their brothers slaughtered.
And before the chips were activated too, they were very,
They're
these
also
are my brothers
fucking-
kind of thing. But once the chips kicked in, they were good soldier follows orders.
Yeah. So again, I just want Boba Fett will need several allies. Who
And
do you
that's
think
what
will be?
that's what I think this next episode will show is him going to the Tundoshans,
Start pulling.
those
And
other
I think,
people,
and I think,
saying, look,
all the times like growing up, we're talking about this stuff. How many times have I heard like the it's very Dune-esque. The like the Tusken Raiders are very similar to the Fremen. I think they show up and help him. They're going to turn the tide of the battle at the end. That's going to happen.
whatever's going to happen, there's going to be an on your left moment where
Yeah.
her, the chief, and a couple others ride in on those speeders they've got now, and they sway the battle.
they have any
whatever
left?
battle's going.
I thought they
Huh?
destroyed all of
They
them
probably
in
got
the
a. They
train
probably got a
wreck.
couple.
Like 2 of them are left.
Ugh, yeah,
But that train
eight
took
people
quite a
on
lot
2
out.
speeder bikes.
Yeah.
But I'm still. Boba's needs allies. If the Hutts are gonna, or the Hutts, or Mayor Hammerhead, or whoever, the bad guys they haven't introduced yet, is going to be going after Boba Fett with several people. Boba Fett will need several allies, not just a couple of lizard people.
No, you're right.
And I don't
think he's
think the
going to get it.
Tuskens are enough.
I don't think they are by themselves. I think at the very end, when it looks like the Hutts or whoever are going to win, they turn the tide of the battle.
Mm-hmm.
They show up and turn. Yeah, that's like you said, the on your left moment.
So it won't in the present part of the Boba Fett that we're watching right now. New armor Fett, bald Fett, tan Fett, walking down the street Fett. He's already met Bo-Katan and Mando and the other two Mandos. So for sure, all of them are showing up in this series, I believe, as allies in some point.
It's possible. I think you're going to see. I think you're going to see.
And they hired a bunch of 501st Mandos to be in this show, much like they did with Stormtroopers.
I think you'll see a flashback of Chapter 9, where he's watching them take out the Krayt Dragon.
I don't know if you'll see a flashback.
But I mean, it is kind of it'll be towards the end, because it's, because he's alone at that point, and it's and I think at that point, this is just my theory, is he was going looking for his armor.
Yeah, he knew where it was, I think.
And he knew Cobb Vanth had it, and he was working his way there. I mean,
there's a scene in the trailer where Boba Fett in his new black Sand People outfit peeks over the mountain and looks at Jabba's palace.
Yeah,
so
and I think that's.
Still have to see that scene.
Yeah, and I think that's after, and I think that's part of the flashback. That's when because I think Slave One is there in the hangar.
Yeah, but when
that's where he's going to get Slave One to go after Din Djarin to get his armor back.
Yeah, when we see him go to Slave One, he's in his Boba Fett outfit.
He doesn't have his armor yet.
In the trailer where they show the Slave One in Jabba's dungeon, one of the trailers showed the Slave One in Jabba's palace.
Well, then maybe that's a different scene where he's using Slave One to go somewhere.
That would be the present.
Okay, that wouldn't be a flashback. That's going to be a present thing.
Yes, so that's what I mean. They show Boba Fett in Boba Fett armor and Fennec Shan in Jabba's parking lot and looking at Slave One. That's a scene in the trailer. There's another scene where they show Boba Fett in Sandperson attire peeking over the mountain at Jabba's palace. So we will see a flashback to Tusken Boba going to Jabba's palace for some reason as a bald dude.
That's the scene of him going to get Slave One to go after Din Djarin.
No, because Boba, Bib Fortuna is there. He's not.
Yeah, he's just going to get his ship. He's not worried about taking over the crime empire yet. He wants his armor back.
What's he going to do about all any?
It's his ship.
The Gamorreans are there. They're still alive. So he hasn't killed anyone. Yeah, but he doesn't have it yet.
No, but he goes there and gets his ship.
There's people there. He can't just walk in and get it.
Sure,
he doesn't just walk in, shoot the two guards that are right there, and then get his ship.
No, because he doesn't shoot. Fennec shoots the two guards in full uniform when Boba has a uniform on. There's a scene where Boba Fett goes to Jabba's palace as a sand person, not Boba Fett. Flashback, because they show it in the trailer. He's looking over a mountain and there's Jabba's palace.
Then that's he will go there
while Bib Fortuna's in charge, not as Boba Fett, because no one knows what he looks like. So he'll have some kind of interaction with whoever's at Jabba. We will see Bib Fortuna again, is what I'm saying. He doesn't break in there as a bald guy, steal it, and not kill anybody.
He has to, because Bib didn't know he was alive.
Yeah. That's right. Bib also doesn't know he's a bald Malaysian dude or a bald Australian guy. Right? He's just a random bald guy. He could also have a Tusken helmet on. I don't know.
Comes and takes Boba Fett's ship? I think he just goes in there very silently, just stealthily, just goes in and takes a ship.
Yeah, he might, but that's not entertaining TV in any way, I don't think.
Because that would have to be a flashback inside or just after Mandalorian season 1.
No, it would be
right after chapter 9.
They're very limited for Tusken flashbacks they can do now.
If he's in a trailer with his sand person outfit on, going to Jabba's palace, and he has Finn with him, that's after he rescued her.
No, he's by himself in this one.
He's a bald guy.
And I think they're gonna show the other part of that scene from chapter 5 of Mandalorian where he walks up and saves her. I think they'll show that.
Those two guards.
Yeah, puts the Chrysler engine in her gut.
Finale and credit scene, right?
But he already had Slave One then.
Yeah, because
we haven't seen him get Slave One yet. Is what I'm saying. We will see him get Slave One, but I think we'll still see him visit Jabba's palace, not as Boba Fett.
Yeah, because he's got to
bald
get Slave One
Australian
out of the
guy.
hangar.
No, I think he's going to figure out some stuff. Who's in charge? You know, he doesn't know.
I think
Bib
he'll see
Fortuna's
that
in
while
charge.
he's there. I think the impetus for him being there is to get his ship. And then
No,
he
I think it's
sees
to see
what
what's
Bib
going on.
Fortuna's doing, and
even
then
there.
he comes
He's
back.
going to
Because
plan on getting his ship
If
with
he could get
Fennec
to
in the future.
Anchorhead, he could get off the planet. So
He
his
doesn't know
ship
his
is
ship's
either
there at
Jabba's
this point.
palace or it's at Anchorhead.
Yeah.
So if his
We'll
ship's
see
at
that.
Anchorhead, then it's been sitting there for a few weeks. And then if it's at Jabba's palace, then Jabba would have just, maybe put a boot on it or something to try and stop it from flying away. We've never
Jabba's
actually
dead.
seen where anybody parks at Jabba's palace. That'd be
Jabba's-
an interesting shot.
Jabba's dead. Jabba died a couple months ago, right? Boba saw him.
I think this is years. I think you're talking 4 or 5 years removed at that point.
Yes, Jabba died. Boba was there. Boba was trapped. So Boba needs to go to the Hutt's palace and see what's going on. Who's got my ship? Who's in charge? I got to scope this out, because then he later comes back and easily takes it over with help from an assassin.
Oops.
He couldn't have did it by himself.
He should know where he parked his ship, and he seems
he
to
should.
think it's an Anchorhead.
I think he parked it there because he went on the barge. Right? He was a guest on the barge.
Oh yeah, but that doesn't
Well,
necessarily
he
mean he
was
parked Slave
at
One
Jabba's
there.
palace. He was on retainer.
Yes, he hangs out at Jabba's palace, so he has to park there, right? So
I don't know. I haven't seen a parking lot there for everybody. Like that was one of the complaints I have about Book of Boba Fett. Where is everybody? Jabba's palace was full of people constantly. Now it's just two Gamorreans, 88, Boba, and Finn. And
we're
that's it.
80% of them on the barge? I would say
Well,
yes.
You don't think in 5 or 6 years Bib Fortuna didn't find some more lackeys to hang around and suck up to him?
No,
I think he was a horrible crime boss. I think he honestly let that Jabba's crime empire just kind of wither.
Oh, everybody seemed to think that Bib Fortuna was in charge when he goes to meet people. So he couldn't have been that horrible if the mayor and everybody else was.
Yeah, but I think as he was a very ineffective leader.
Yeah, I think the mayor.
And I think a lot of his operation is you have people like the mayor and stuff that were able to creep in and get power. And Boba Fett's trying to take that away.
In episode 4, 5, and 6, I never heard of a mayor of Mos Espa or Tatooine or whatever
Every
he's the mayor
city
of.
would have had a mayor.
Yeah, I'm just saying, just because you didn't mention doesn't mean he didn't exist.
This is the first time I've heard the word mayor in Star Wars history. The word mayor.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean just because it wasn't mentioned.
There are several mayors scattered all through the Clone Wars. There are governors. There are senators.
Yeah, there's still local governments.
They have the same power structure as most of our government. It's just slightly different. And the Empire allowed them, as long as they shut up and did what they were supposed to.
Yeah,
as long
as they followed the directions of the regional governors.
Yeah, and then
the moment they brought politics into Star Wars was one of the worst moments in Star Wars.
We don't have any idea what happened after the fall of the Empire.
The Trade
Federation. When the Republic comes in, do they allow? Is there a structure set up at all? The Senate would have taken years to get back together. So
yeah, none of that stuff in any way interests me or concerns me at all. Like government in space, it's not relevant. It's space cowboys with guns and laser swords.
Star Wars,
you're just going to shoot them.
Star Wars is constantly about politics.
Yeah, but I don't think it should be. It's not relevant in no way as a space fantasy movie. It's just, I don't know. That was my one big beef with episode 1, 2, and 3. Is like if I was an 8-year-old kid and I went in there and they're like, oh, the Senate and politics, and I'd be like, what, Dad? It's not what space fantasy.
But they're the number 1, 2, 3 movie of all time, and the kids love them. And Palpatine has become almost a mythic character because of the machinations that he was able to do. I think
it's very fitting that the most evil person in the Star Wars universe is a career politician.
Yes, exactly. And episodes 1, 2, and 3 are the rise of Hitler, the rise of Napoleon, the rise of Stalin, Caesar. How normal people can get sucked into rhetoric and stuff and do things against their own nature. like go to war for no reason whatsoever, led by space monks.
Yeah, by somebody who's manipulating the war on both sides.
Yeah,
I liked the propaganda that was in Solo, like
Yes.
join the army. I thought that was cool.
Because that's who Solo's always been. That's the big part of Solo. I wish they would have shown us him in the Empire.
Yeah,
There were some pretty cool deleted scenes.
Flying a TIE fighter and AT-AT or something. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, it's showing us exactly who we've always known he was. They didn't need to rewrite his origin. We already knew Han's origin. We knew Chewie's origin. They didn't need to change it. They just felt they had to for some weird reason.
I still love that movie. It was the last movie I wanted him to make with Solo.
Yeah.
Star Wars stories, because I was like, we've already seen a young Han Solo movie. It was called Star Wars. It came out in 1977. Perhaps you've heard of it.
Even walking into that movie that day, I was like, this is a movie that didn't need to be made.
Oh, when the Lucasfilm logo came up on the screen, I was like, all right, let's get this over with. And then, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. Every time I watched that movie, Star Wars, I loved it. Oh yeah, it's so much. It's a fun movie, and there's some great like Galaxy's Edge references into it because Doc Ondar is there. They do mention Black Spire and stuff. And by the way, how'd you like it?
I would love. Solo 2 is never going to happen, but a Solo,
unfortunately,
I think it might.
Lando series. The Lando series is already coming.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to get some resolution there.
Oh, Donald Glover did such a wonderful job. I mean, he was basically doing a Billy D. Williams impersonation through the whole movie.
He opened his mouth, and I'm like, wow,
I loved it.
Billy D. Holy crap! He was great.
Well, it was when they were getting ready to film that one, or they may have already started. It was before. It was actually they were filming it because it was before The Last Jedi came out. Colorado Springs Comic-Con that year, Billy D. Williams was here. Yeah. And he had said, he was sitting there in the Q&A and he said, like, I met with Donald Glover. He came to see me and we talked, and he's like, he is the greatest guy. You're going to love him in this movie. He's really, he was, I guess for him, he was asking all the right questions and stuff. It was just, he had such wonderful things to say about him, and he's a great actor. I love him in The Martian. I loved him in Solo and everything else, like Community, all that stuff. He's just great.
I would really like to see an extension of that, and I know in the comics at the moment they are doing that with Kira, and they're doing more of the Black Sun stuff. But
Kira will show up in this Boba show. I'm pretty sure.
I'm not 100% sure because I don't think they can keep Amelia Clark's quiet.
No, they're going to use her in
keep them all quiet, or you don't get a $1 million paycheck. It works, trust me.
She'll be on the Lando series because she wouldn't need to age. If you moved her into this, she'd need to age 20 years.
No, not 20. She's already aged since she made Solo. She's almost 40. So she could play a 40-year-old person or a 50-year-old person.
She could play it.
No problem.
I think she'd be all right.
There's no reason for them to be Crimson Dawn in this series if she's not in it because she's the leader of it.
Well, they haven't even mentioned Crimson Dawn yet. Hopefully, maybe in the next episode.
It's been mentioned. It has a different name. It has been mentioned under a different name. Crimson Reign.
Well, Crimson Dawn at the moment is wreaking havoc through the end of Empire Strikes Back and into Return of the Jedi. So I don't know if they would have changed their name that instantly. Did that happen in a newer issue?
No, just that word crimson is not used for no reason, right? Crimson is a dark red color, which is also on the Tuscans, and also Kira wears it, and there's a reason why it's called Crimson Dawn or Crimson, whatever the name of Maul's ex-gang was called. Crimson Tide? No, that's Alabama football team. I can't remember. What's it called? Crimson what?
Crimson Dawn.
It's called Crimson Dawn.
Isn't that the name of the series?
But the thing is if you watch, in season 7 of the Clone Wars, he's heading up Crimson Dawn, the Pikes, and Black Sun.
Yes.
They were all working for him.
What species did we just see in Chapter 2? The Pikes.
Yeah, but
that was
Pikes have only been seen in Solo with Kira and
in Clone Wars.
Related,
in the Clone Wars.
Related stories.
Maul and in Rebels. They were in Rebels as well.
So someone's their boss. They have to go walk home now to their boss. Who do you think their boss is?
Well, that's the thing I want to know is after Maul
Darth Maul's dead.
After Maul died, I'm curious to see what happened.
Kira.
Kira takes over, but I think they became more tribal. Is my thing is Black Sun went and did Black Suns. They kind of just split.
Yeah, maybe
he was keeping them together. Without that, they go their separate
ways. And that Black
ways.
Sun, that's Prince Izor, right?
Black Sun is Prince Izor. And then you got the Pikes, and the
Hutts.
Yeah, the Hutts are their own thing too.
I'm assuming Black Sun is canon in comics and books somehow. Because I don't think
because they had Prince Izor and they had Zizor in
the cartoon,
Clone
right?
Wars. Yeah. And he was in that.
I think that crime syndicate might make an appearance in this show and introduce some legend.
I'd love to see it.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah. We need more baddies. I think we're missing baddies there, or evil bad guys. There's no Vader or Thrawn or Maul. It's just been a couple of Hutts and a Black Wookiee with no violence.
Well, they can't use Thrawn.
They can't use Thrawn. They can't use.
They can.
Anybody from the
I don't
Empire.
think. Well, they're not going to use Thrawn because he's going to be in Ahsoka.
Yeah, but why would they?
Plus, at the moment, he's in the outer rim.
I don't think you're going to see any Imperial.
Thrawn is in space with stormtroopers somewhere,
right? Why not? I don't think that this fight's not going to be with the Imperial Remnant. It's all going to be crime. It's all the crime lords and underworld stuff, which is great because I love that stuff.
We're after Mandalorian season 2, and we don't see any remnants of the Empire in Mos Espa. None of it.
Stormtroopers.
Yeah.
No stormtroopers. There's no Moff
but he's not. But he's not in
Tatooine
right now. They're all gone.
Yeah, they're not on Tatooine.
But he's still alive.
It doesn't matter. He doesn't.
But they're not in this show. I don't think you're going to see any Imperial Remnant in this show.
Yes, we will, because Hasbro spoiled it. Of course, there's a Boba Fett action figure coming out with 2 stormtrooper helmets. We have not seen a stormtrooper helmet in the show.
Yeah, but think about
stormtrooper.
Think about Chapter 5 of The Mandalorian.
When
he goes to Tatooine. I know, but when he goes to Tatooine, he's in Mos Eisley, and they had the stormtrooper helmets on Pikes.
Yes, yeah. And there was remnant stormtroopers.
I think
random dudes in
they were on Navarro. They were not on Tatooine.
Yeah,
no, that was
our first.
That's why
seeing stormtroopers in the Mandalorian show was just random dudes in stormtrooper uniforms working for the client, right?
Yeah, that was on Navarro.
No, because the client was an ex, or he was a regional governor.
An imperial related.
He was an imperial governor or something.
Yes,
and he just reports to Moff Gideon.
So we had stormtroopers.
Yeah,
on Navarro
in season 1. We also had them in season 2 with Moff Gideon and Death Troopers, which are shiny or white. So stormtroopers exist
on another planet
right now in the book.
Yeah, but that's still in Navarro. It's not on Tatooine.
Modern. We just haven't seen them.
Yeah, but Rick, that was all on Navarro, not on Tatooine.
They're everywhere. They're everywhere in the universe. Stormtroopers. They're not just on one.
Not
planet.
Anymore. No, that's why. There's a reason why when Boba Fett sees Moff Gideon's cruiser on Tython, he's genuinely surprised and goes, "Oh, they're back," because they weren't on Tatooine. They were driven off most planets. They're out. They are in the Outer Rim. I agree, but they're in places there are some holdouts, like on Navarro, or what was that other planet they went to get the.
I'm just trying to piece together story-wise. Why would we see stormtroopers in the Book of Boba Fett? Who would they be with?
You're not seeing, but
we will, because they're making toys.
I know,
of it.
But. If you
would they make toys of it?
But remember in season 1 of The Mandalorian when he ends up on Tatooine and he meets that kid trying to get in the guild, and it's with Fennec Shand. When he's walking through Mos Eisley, there are some beat up stormtrooper helmets on Pikes, but that's all you see of the Empire. There are no stormtroopers there anymore.
We see stormtroopers with the client where he gets Baby Yoda from.
On Navarro, not Tatooine.
Your point is not making
they're
any sense.
on
it's a different planet.
Yeah, they're on different planets.
It's the same time. It's the exact same time.
But they're not. But the Empire isn't what it was. They're not everywhere anymore.
No, but they are there.
They were on Navarro.
After the Battle of Jakku.
There's an enclave. There's a secret base there. There's that other base where they were finding the Redonium on that other planet where they had to get to the terminal later on. There are pockets of Empire around. But you don't see the Empire on Tatooine in this time. other than
that's
old
just
stormtrooper helmets on pikes.
that's not a fact. You're just saying
The
we
fact
haven't
is,
seen it
The
yet.
fact
not
is that's
in-
what you see.
Okay,
Tatooine is not in Imperial space. Imperial space
we will
does not
see them.
include Tatooine.
But who will they be with? Will they be with
I don't think you're going to
Moff
see
Gideon or
stormtroopers.
Thrawn, or will they be with someone else that we not?
Thrawn
seen
is
yet?
not coming into this show.
You're not going to see Thrawn.
He is in
So-
the outer
And you're
rim.
not. I don't think you're not going to see stormtroopers.
We are going to see stormtroopers because they're
Other
making
than-
toys.
Other than the one
They
you saw in the
spoiled that.
Sarlacc, they
They
just.
spoiled that.
Yeah, I know. I ordered the set, but I don't.
So
you
that
said
means we will
stormtrooper
see
helmets, not
stormtroopers.
stormtroopers.
We will see stormtroopers. We will. It's Star Wars. We'll see stormtroopers.
You already saw them. It's in the Sarlacc.
It's not a dead one. But if we see live ones,
He
I
took
just
his
want to
helmet.
know who they're protecting. Which evil Lord Master will we see on the Book of Boba Fett show?
They would be working for the remnant in that case.
Hey Chris,
Oh my
in
God.
6 weeks
Tatooine
when
is
this is
not
all over,
part
can we do
of
this
Imperial
again so we
space
can
anymore.
tell him, hey, we're with
No.
the stormtroopers?
Here's
They're
how
not
it's going to
gonna
work.
be
When
there,
this is
Rick.
all over, you guys will all be praising me because all of my theories are correct.
No, you
No,
Oh, I promise.
I'm sorry,
you,
buddy.
man.
I love you, but I love you.
We-
but
But
you're
right
being
now,
here.
right now,
we live
chapter
in
2
Colorado,
Book of Boba Fett.
and we are not as high as you.
Well,
not today. Right
of what's
now,
legal in
in
this
this
state.
timeline, right now, somewhere alive is Moff Gideon. He's right here.
Moff Gideon right now is in jail. In the present
We don't know
time,
that.
yeah,
We
he
don't
was
The
know
kept-
present time he was handed over to the
He
Republic.
was handed
and
over
he's
to the
in jail.
Republic at the end of
And
at the
Mandalorian
end of
season two.
Mandalorian season 2. Yeah,
His
this is
ship was
after Mandalorian
confiscated.
season 2.
okay, and up here, Thrawn is alive.
Thrawn is out there.
So
You're
they're
not
not
gonna see him
they're not
until
characters
Ahsoka.
that don't exist right now. But
No,
these are the
they
guys
exist.
that we know have stormtroopers.
Yeah, and they're not showing
So-
up in Book of Boba Fett.
Okay, then there's another character. It could be George Kaboth or someone's going to have stormtroopers, and it's not going to be the client.
Yeah, you're not going to see. This is all underworld stuff. You're not going to see any Imperial remnant. in this.
Unless the
Okay.
Hutts have recruited some sort of
That's the only way.
Imperials to be part of their enforcement. That's the only thing. Because Tatooine is not part of the Imperial area that was ceded to them after the Battle of
He could
Jakku.
go to another planet 1 minute
No,
into the
you
next
just
episode.
can't fly a Star Destroyer places anymore.
No,
That's
you
not
can't.
how Star Wars works in this reality now.
You can't fly spaceships in Star Wars now.
You can't take a cruiser
Yeah, but they don't.
to
You
a
can't.
planet.
It's something
and
like a
invade
Star
the
Destroyer
Republic.
showing up is going to be noticed.
I don't
Yeah.
know what you're talking about.
Because
Boba Fett
after
can
the
get in a
Battle of
spaceship and go
Jakku,
to another planet.
Right.
after the
but
Battle of Jakku,
one small
there was an agreement made,
one
between
small
the
ship
the
like that
Imperials
one. Let me get
and the
it,
rebels.
like that one. If I can
and
do
they
this
cut
right.
space up, and the Imperials
much
were given a
different than
certain
a
area of
Star
space
Destroyer.
to occupy, and the Alliance got an area of space.
I don't even know what you're
And
talking
the
about.
agreement was that they would not interfere with theirs. Well, Navarro and those are on the outer rim that is not claimed territory. So you're constantly getting incursions in there.
So bad
some
guys
sort of-
follow
Huh?
rules.
Well,
I'm
they
confused.
do adhere to treaties.
Hmm.
They do adhere to not get the fuck wiped out of them like they did in the Battle of Jakku a year and a half ago.
The Republic is the one, even though it's only 5 years in, they still have the larger fleet. They kicked their butts at Jakku.
Jakku was
That
again,
broke
I-
the
you're
Empire.
bringing up
That was
Jakku
really
again. You
what finally
keep bringing
broke
up
the
Jakku.
Empire's back.
Jakku was a sequel planet, right?
It doesn't
But
matter. Jakku
the
happened
battle-
a year ago in the
the
Mandalorian
The
timeline.
Battle
but
of
I'm just
Jakku
saying,
happens
Do you
a year
think
after
John
Return of the
Favreau
Jedi.
wrote this, knowing Jakku existed and
Yes.
made that very
Of course,
important part of
because
this
that was
movie?
Yes.
5 years. That was what
Yeah.
8-9 years ago now.
Okay, so do you actually
Are you
think
kidding?
that there's
All the Disney Plus shows are referencing the sequel trilogy. At some
have
point,
they referenced Jakku in the Book of Boba Fett yet?
No, of
They
course
won't.
not.
They won't either.
But they don't
need
have to.
I'm
That's
just
not what we're
talking
talking
about
about.
stormtroopers.
But it has happened in the Star Wars timeline. It's
Yeah,
already
yeah,
happened.
some of all the
battle-
cartoons, but
The
some of the
Battle
stuff is
of
not
Jakku
important.
happens a year
It's
after
not
Return
in
of
the
Jedi.
cartoon. It's
No.
It's not in the
base
cartoon.
fact in canon
Yeah,
that the
it's-
Battle of
it's just the
Jakku took
timeline.
place 5 years after Return of the Jedi. After the Battle of Endor, 5 years later, the Battle of Jakku happened, and it destroyed 90% of the Imperial fleet.
Yeah, and then there was a faction of
And
them
then
go off
they
into the
broke up
unknown
and declared
reasons to
peace.
and come back as the First Order.
Yeah, and then they break off, and then Hux's dad gets a boner on, and decides to create the First Order. And then from that point on, they keep growing the First Order. The Empire is not the First Order. The Empire actually fights against the First Order with the fledgling Republic. But then the Republic doesn't actually believe the First Order is as strong as it is. And that happens in the Bloodline novel with Leia when they find out that Darth Vader was her dad, and they flip out. And
that's why
like
she starts the Resistance.
Yeah, and that's why she starts the Resistance.
And the Republic, there are senators and representatives in the Republic that give her support, clandestine support, but she's kind of out on her own.
Yeah,
and that's why she needs Luke.
Yeah, and that's why she needs Luke, and that's what spins like that. She recruits Poe, and Poe brings his battle group in, and it's
and all those other
the Resistance
showed up.
Super slow.
Well, that was at the end. It was that was Lando getting everybody, and that was the big thing. That was the final end of it.
Rise of Skywalker.
So if you don't think Thrawn can do that, you're wrong.
No, Thrawn's not showing up in here because he's showing up in Ahsoka.
The Ahsoka series.
Yeah, he's not going to be in this. If he's in anything, it's a quick cameo at the very end or anything. He's not fighting. You're not going to see anything.
Why would
a tease for Ahsoka?
We see Thrawn in this series.
Why would Thrawn come to Tatooine?
I didn't say we'd come on Tatooine.
Well, we're not leaving Tatooine at any point. We're not leaving Tatooine at any point in this series, so
yeah, we are.
Why would he come to Tatooine?
They show a Boba Fett ship flying, and I'm assuming it flies somewhere.
They could fly to Anchorhead.
I think that's when he's going. I think you're seeing that. That's when you see him in the ship. He's going to after Din Djarin to get his armor.
Yeah,
possibly.
I think that's part of a flashback of him leaving to go get his armor.
Possibly,
and then him coming back, and then him coming back and killing Bib Fortuna.
Yeah, I don't think this show leaves Tatooine, unfortunately. Which I wish it would, because now we have Obi-Wan coming, which is going to take place almost completely on Tatooine.
Yeah,
could we get away from this damn planet just once?
It's the center of the Star Wars universe.
Apparently,
I don't mind it.
Ironically, with what Luke says in A New Hope, that if there's a bright center of the universe, you're in the planet that it's farthest from. It's no
exactly
dead center of everything that happens in the Star Wars universe happens on this planet.
There is a master time chart. It's online, but it changes every.
They tweak it all the time
week because of the comics and stuff. They keep dropping new stuff in. But I mean, I would love to see some Imperials show up, but I just don't think it's a thing that's going to happen, because that would be another
there wouldn't be a bad guy in a Star Wars movie.
The bad guys at the moment are the Hutts.
This would be the very first Star Wars show without the bad guys.
The Hutts are the bad guys.
You have plenty of bad guys.
The Hutts are the bad guys.
Hutts are bad
guys.
Was
Jabba the bad guy in Return of the Jedi?
He was a crime lord who oversaw.
Was Jabba the bad guy in Return of the Jedi?
In the scenes he was in, yes.
No, it was still Darth Vader and the Emperor and the Empire. All three
for
movies,
the last
it was the Empire.
End of the movie.
All three movies, it was the Empire.
I didn't see the Hutts fighting with the rebels.
They didn't fight with anybody.
But they were in one movie. Not good people.
So this would be the first Star Wars product without the bad guys.
The bad guys are the Hutts. They're a criminal organization.
You're making my head hurt, Rick.
Oh my god.
They are bad guys.
Boba's a bad guy. But I mean, he needs
Boba is not a bad guy. He is not immoral.
He's a bounty hunter.
He kills people for money.
He is a mercenary. He'd have been a hero of the rebellion if they paid him enough.
He's a bounty hunter. He's a bad guy we like.
He's just a mercenary. He goes where the money is.
I like Dexter too.
He would have, like I said, he would have been Boba Fett would have been a hero to the rebellion if they paid him enough.
And in the comics and things, they have paid him in the past, and he has done things for the Republic.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other story I read or I saw yesterday, some guy said, "Oh, Boba Fett was in on the whole plan all along to rescue Han Solo." They just didn't tell Han Solo.
That's dumb. No, that was that's another thing. It's like he does not have some kind of vendetta with Han Solo. It was just a very big paycheck from the Hutts. That's it.
Yeah.
He's not, like I said, he's not immoral. He's amoral. Same thing with Jango Fett. Jango Fett would have been a hero to the Republic if they were paying him.
We also know they had a history too.
The only history is because they both work for Jabba.
Yeah.
So what I said is they had a history together. They've met,
and that's it. But there's not
in
this
the past, and we haven't seen it on film yet.
We haven't seen it anywhere yet because all that was
in the special editions where he's there.
When Han Solo showed up on Bespin and Boba Fett was there,
No, they know who they are. They both work for Boba. They both work for Jabba the Hutt.
They both
of course.
work for Jabba. It's not like they don't know each other.
That's not some big revelation there. But my thing is like everybody thinks that like he has this deep-seated hatred for Han Solo, and there's always this vendetta back and forth. It was a paycheck. I don't think it was a job. He didn't.
But why couldn't there be that problem? Like,
because there hasn't been yet.
Yeah, because
there could be.
They could throw that in now, but I mean the Bounty Hunter comic.
They could, but I would be surprised.
I would be so pissed at Han Solo because he is causing Boba Fett nothing but problems, and he's just a block of ice basically. And Boba is getting his ass kicked constantly, episode after episode. And Black Sun is coming at him. Crimson Dawn is coming after him. Vader has come after him because he didn't bring him. Vader decided that he wanted Han, and Boba wouldn't give it to him because he already agreed to give it to Jabba.
Yeah. Yep.
I would be pissed as shit at Han, but they haven't really shown that yet. Which it'll be interesting to see when Han does show up in episode 5 or 6. What that reaction is, because first of all they have to de-age Harrison.
Yeah, but I mean the technologies, the deepfake stuff's there. They actually hired that.
As long as they do it slightly better.
I'm not 100% convinced he's showing up.
They just.
I think it's been confirmed that he's showing up.
I stay away from spoilers, man. I have no clue. I try to stay away from it. So.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about it.
No, it's kind of like we know in some way Cad is back.
Hey, Joey's here.
Hey, Joey. In the show, because the guy who plays him, Timothy Amason, did an interview recently, and he has all the facial hair is back, and the hair is exactly the same way it was. So on the show he's on, he doesn't have that stuff. So he had to grow that for a reason. And the reason would be he's probably in a flashback or something.
Yeah, probably.
Which is fine with me. I love that combat character.
He might be great.
I was like, okay, can I get a whole flashback series of him now?
Getting the gear from the Jawas.
Oh, are you kidding? I'd do a present day series of him just being the marshal. That is,
Yeah, but now he doesn't have the armor or anything.
He doesn't need it. I'm okay with it.
Boba Fett's got some backup.
I love Justified. Do Justified in Star Wars. I'm good, man.
If you can justify him, then I'd watch the show.
Here, boom. I just got another theory. It sounds cool. Let's check it out.
Hang on a second. Let me do a couple lines of coke, and then I'll come back.
Boba's got a spare set of armor. He needs Cobb Vanth as an ally, and it's all white.
No.
Maybe
nice
try, Rick. I like it, but I don't see it happening.
None of my theories people should hate because they're all pretty cool.
I mean,
they're all fun.
That would be kind of an interesting thing. I wouldn't know if I'd make a white outfit in the middle of the desert, but it would be cool.
I'm just saying. I think that's how we see Cobb Vanth again.
That girl who's
ally for Boba against the Hutt.
John was talking earlier about the girl who's on the speeder bike, who somebody thinks is Omega or whatever. John thinks that's Boba Fett's kid that we didn't know about.
Yeah,
I don't.
There's another one. It was like from the video game. Was it the Battle of Tarakasi or whatever? There's a. Not exactly a Sith, not like really a Sith, yeah, but no, it's like a Dark Jedi kind of thing with a robot arm. And if you look at her arm, it could be a robotic arm.
Face tattoos. I mean, they could just get rid of the face tattoos.
Yeah, that's but it looks like she's got a robotic arm kind of thing. I think it's kind of a deep. I think people are getting a little too deep in it. But if it happened, I thought that'd be kind of cool.
But she's the daughter of Maliki.
I don't want her to be related to anybody. I don't want her to be.
Why not?
Because why does she need to be?
Because someone's got to control the Rancor.
But Fennec Shan isn't anybody.
She's a robot.
She's her own person.
She's a droid.
Why can't this girl be her own person?
Right.
Because someone's got to control the Rancor.
She's got a Buick engine in her gut, but she's not
Who
a
has
droid.
Moochie? If Moochie's not at Rancor's palace, who has Moochie? Could it be the Rancor Keeper's daughter?
Bib Fortuna seemed to be very fond of Moochie in the episode.
He owned him.
Maybe... we know she's not in the Rancor pit, or at least not that one.
But we know Bib Fortuna obtained Moochie in the cartoons.
Yeah, and was very fond of her. So maybe he hid her away or let her go or something. That's going to be something that they're going to have to address. Is
All right,
where
guys, I
Bushi
gotta
went.
go. I gotta check on some stuff.
Oh hell, it's almost been 2 hours.
Yeah.
They don't have to address it. It'd be a cool Easter egg. Nice to have you,
It would
buddy.
be no, because people are going to want to know what happened to her.
Well,
If they don't answer it in the Bad Batch somewhere,
yeah, why not?
They talk about how he had a menagerie of different animals, and we know he had at least 3 different Rancors in his life before he passed.
Yeah, I've read
We're
stories
assuming
about a bunch.
was one, and this other one who died was whatever his name was. I can't remember what his name was.
I think it's the ideal opportunity to bring a Rancor back to Star Wars, right?
Well, obviously,
CGI,
at some point,
I guess
Boba Fett's going to ride that dragon thing that he rode from the cartoon.
Well, the leaked drawing of a person who saw a concept drawing was Boba riding a Rancor.
I think that was him on the back of that Harryhausen thing.
No, I have the picture on my desktop. It's a Rancor.
So,
and if you see in the trailers, they show the streets all torn up where that speeder comes through. The speeder didn't do that. The awnings torn down, everything smashed, but nothing from blaster fire. It's just all smashed.
I don't know. I think people are reading too much into that, because then that has to be Moochie. And they just let her loose and she wanders Tatooine and wanders into major metropolitan areas like Godzilla and just destroys things. But
with Boba on her saddle,
come up and talk to her like Black Widow to the Hulk.
That was all in the mind. How did the Rancor keeper train the Rancor? Right, he had a way.
He treated him nice
with a stick. He just get in there.
Yeah. That'd be interesting. We'll have to see.
I think we'll see another big creature. Why not? It's Star Wars, right? More creatures, the better.
Yeah. Well, and there's seems to be quite a lot of them underneath the sands of Tatooine.
Yeah, that would surprise me, but I'm not going to say I hated it. I thought it was pretty cool.
Oh, I've liked all the creatures so far.
That's a good thing.
I like it because it gives Tatooine more
more dangers.
And I'd like to know. I don't know when Tatooine was destroyed. But I'd like to know when. If it's been only a few thousand years,
what are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Tatooine was a normal planet with water and trees and everything. And then it was taken over by a faction. I don't remember what they were called, and the population fought back, and so they just bombarded the planet from space and destroyed the water, destroyed the environment, and that's why Tatooine is the way it is now. But it used to be a very vibrant planet.
I like it as a desert planet. It's
cool. So I'm not sure when that happened. It was probably a couple thousand years ago by now, but it'd be interesting to see. I got to go back and do some more searching on that.
You're talking like it's real.
It is real.
Tatooine's real.
Well, they just talked about it in this episode about how when the waters were left, and it is canon that Tatooine was.
No, I'm just saying, like, you're concerned about it, like it's Earth, like you care.
I do care about
like it matters
information about the background. I care about the Tuskens. I care about how do Jawas get from place to place.
Here's another thing: could Jawas and Tuskens be like the same?
No. I don't think so, because they don't seem to like each other. Anytime Tuskens come around, the Jawas really kind of get out.
They tend to fight, I guess, but yeah.
So
many things that we want answers to, right?
Well, it's just simple questions like how do they get? They don't seem to have spaceships unless they're sandcrawlers or transformers of some kind. Wouldn't that be sweet? If someday there's just repulsor lifts that pull up out of it and they fly away.
And what's interesting too is in the Mandalorian, the off-world Jawas, they have a sandcrawler, but they also have sandcrawlers on Tatooine with the yellow eyes. So how do they have same ships? It's just a kind of a weird thing too that maybe one day we'll find out.
It's and see those are the
kind
of
their
weird
brand that they like to buy at the dealership. Houdini, this one.
They got a bulk deal. They got like 10 of them.
Because for sure they would know how to fly any spaceship. So,
and they seem to be
intelligent.
That is another thing I would like to know more about. And in one of the books, there's a Jawa that's actually is force sensitive, and we get a little bit more background of their culture, but not like we're getting for the Tuscans. I'd like to know more about Jawas. What do they do? Are they just simply scrap dealers, or are they actually pretty good mechanics?
I think they may be. I think they're a
they
lot
seem to be
smarter
able to
than
fix
Tuscans.
just about anything they find. And so I'd like to know more about them. And I know it seems stupid to want to know that, but I don't. I would like to know how the Gungan society evolved as well. That they live in big air pockets under the water, but they don't live in water. But they do have gills of some kind.
Yeah, well, they
Are
can
the
breathe underwater.
Nebulians?
So why
Yeah,
live in bubbles?
Yeah, are Nebulians invaders to the planet, or are they Naboo people? There's
They're
just
humans.
questions. Like, you hate all the politics. I like it because
It's not that I don't. I hate it. It's just it doesn't. Bam, pow. It doesn't like. It's not like a highlight of the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, they elected a new senator. Like it's the last important thing to me in all Star Wars lore is the fact that there are senators, there are mayors, there is a Senate. I like Lord Fett. No one voted for him. He just took power, just like Lord Vader and the Emperor. And
the Emperor
they just
gave him
took
all
power.
his power.
Nobody voted for them. They're very not Hitler-esque. They're just authoritarian. I'm doing this. Chop me, which to me makes you a bad guy, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, the Emperor did give them all their power. Without the Emperor, the Vader is nothing except a Sith. And
yeah, but he's still a powerful guy who can swing a lightsaber and fly spaceships like better than everyone else, apparently. So
what would
he could have, if he wanted to, kill the Empire or the Emperor and just take over. But
he could have, but he didn't.
Yeah.
But then his sacrifice was meaningless.
He's just a kid,
and then
right?
His child sacrifice was meaningless.
And I think we see a little bit of whiny Anakin in the Kenobi show, whether it's a flashback or Darth Vader going, I want to go to that planet. Because he's a kid
Well, it'll
still.
be interesting to see how much they allow. Because in this same timeline, if they show Vader, are they going to show Tarkin? Because Tarkin's the only person other than Vader who knows that he's Anakin Skywalker.
If it's important to the story, like that's like saying right now, why don't they show Luke as a kid? Or,
Well, they will in the Anakin show.
Right now.
In the Obi-Wan show, they will, and they've already shown Luke as a kid. That was in Rebels when he kills Darth Maul.
Yeah, so it's a cartoon.
Yeah.
Again, I don't like to compare the cartoons to the real
money making Star Wars. You can't erase that. It's canon.
No, I'm not erasing it. It's just it doesn't add as much as you think it does. Or
it does. I mean, it just not to you.
No,
the fact that Darth Maul.
If you actually erase Ahsoka, all of Star Wars is the same. So,
but it won't.
I am correct.
It isn't now because Ahsoka is in the Mandalorian, and the Mandalorian gave us Book of Boba Fett, so those shows wouldn't exist. Without the Clone Wars moving forward, we might not have gotten the sequel trilogy. We definitely got the prequel.
We didn't need to see Ahsoka in the Mandalorian. It didn't add to his story at all.
It added to the story because he was supposed to find a Jedi to help Grogu train.
And he did.
That was the whole point.
He did. And it wasn't
Ahsoka. He did. And she was like, I can't train him. Somebody else has to train him.
Yeah. So here's they brought Ahsoka into the show. I need your help. Sorry, I'm not helping you. And then she left the show. So she added her own show. She added nothing to the show.
She gave us the name Grogu to start with.
Yeah.
She force linked with him, sent them to the planet where he gets kidnapped, brings Luke into the series.
Yeah.
Without Ahsoka, those episodes just stop right there.
I don't think Luke came because of Ahsoka. I think Luke came because
Ahsoka sent Grogu to the temple, and he sat in the middle of the temple, and the temple sent a beacon out.
Yeah.
And Luke heard the beacon and came. And that's because Ahsoka told him to do so. and Ahsoka is going to pull in Grand Admiral Thrawn. And the original plan was that these shows all converge into one huge story at the end where they fight Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Well, they're all one story for sure.
Well, it's not happening anymore because they got rid of the Rangers of the New Republic. So all of that story is gone now, and they're going to have to work that in somewhere.
I think they'll animate it. My rumor, my guess. I think they need that story, like you're saying, unless they add all those little details to these 3 movies or these 3 Disney Plus shows, they pull an element in. Like where's Carson Green? No, where's the guy from Kim's Convenience?
From what?
The X-wing pilot from Kim's Convenience.
He was supposed to be one of the stars of the Marshals.
So they didn't fire him. He will still be an actor.
No, they killed the show.
So he'll be in one of these shows.
They killed the show completely. And we're either going to
one of the actresses.
Gina.
They didn't kill the show as much.
She was the star of the show. That's like saying I'm making the Book of Boba Fett, but I'm not going to have him in the show.
I don't think she was the star of the show. She only has like 4 acting credits.
She was the star of the show. They already said she was in the promo material for it before they fired her. She was the star of the show. That's what that whole episode was about the guy from convenience store coming and talking to her and showing her the badge and all that stuff. That was her going to them. And
they wanted to keep her going.
Yeah, that was her show. Everybody from The Mandalorian got their own show. Ahsoka got their own show. The Mandalorian gets this show. Finch got her show with the Book of Boba Fett. Gina got her show. The only person who didn't get a show out of the whole thing is Apollo Creed.
Actually, only one person got a show out of that, and that's Boba Fett.
No, Ahsoka got a show off of The Mandalorian.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, 2.
Yeah. And the Republic, the Things of the Republic was Gina's show.
Yeah, and Bill Burr and Carson from.
Yeah, she was still going to be the star.
Convenience. Yeah, but all the other people are bigger actors, so they're the star.
Bill Burr is not a bigger actor.
Absolutely,
Bill Burr's barely been in.
Bill Burr's won acting awards, buddy.
He's won Emmys
and Oscars. Anything. Bill Burr's a great actor. He's very talented.
Of course he is. He's not the star of the show.
He's an experienced actor.
Yes, but he wasn't even part of the cast. He was going to be a guest star in 2 episodes.
He was going to be part of that Ranger show for sure, 100%.
Yeah, for 2 episodes.
How do you know how many episodes?
Because they already talked about what was going to be happening in the show.
Oh, where? I need to read this. I didn't.
I'll try and find that article and I'll send it to you. Because it gave an outline of what the show was supposedly moving forward with. Several of the scripts weren't completely finished because they weren't supposed to start shooting it until after Book of Boba Fett was done. But then that all came up and then the show got killed. Now, I don't see why they just can't replace her. Not as the character, just as another actress.
I think they will.
Obviously not, because the show's not being filmed.
It's been postponed, much just like the movie has been postponed. They're not canceled. They're on hold indefinitely.
There's no Rangers movie.
No, there's the female X-Wing Road Squadron movie.
That only got delayed because she's filming Wonder Woman 3. That doesn't have anything to do with...
That was the rumor. That was the rumor.
It's not the rumor. That's what Patty Jenkins came out and said.
It got delayed because it was already supposed to be a film, and it was supposed to come out this year. So it did get delayed.
It got delayed because of COVID to start with.
That's right.
And then it got delayed because her schedule got mixed up with Wonder Woman.
They don't tell us in a press release, these are delayed for this reason. It's not.
Well, she did. Patty Jenkins came out and said she wasn't going to be able to do the Star Wars thing because she's busy doing Wonder Woman.
Yes, and then apparently the next day she got fired for saying that. So there's certain things we have to believe that
she has not been fired.
Another story. It was a story on the internet. The next day was she's not to be talking out of place about stuff because that's a Lucasfilm.
Like she wouldn't have come out and said,
"Shut up," when you're not.
Shut up and sit down.
Yeah,
because I'm a woman.
No, not a woman thing. Don't talk about Star Wars stuff. You signed a non-disclosure agreement. Certain things you can't talk about, like She
The
got in
fact that
trouble
she's
for saying
shooting
that.
Wonder Woman 3.
She got in trouble for saying that because it makes it seem like Wonder Woman's more important than Star Wars.
Yeah, because she was
I totally
contractually
understand.
obligated to do it first. She had it set up with Warner Brothers to do that at this time. When COVID pushed back the shooting of that movie, it then overlapped into the next one, and she won't start shooting that until after she's done with Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the movie didn't get killed. She didn't get fired.
I know it didn't get killed.
Kathleen Kennedy
They
didn't
didn't
get
like her
fired again.
saying, "I'm taking a Warner Brothers property priority over this Disney property." It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good.
Yeah, it means she's following the Directors Guild contract.
It's not worth arguing about. It's not important at all.
Yeah, she didn't get in any trouble.
No, we're just talking about they got delayed.
It got delayed because she's shooting Wonder Woman 3.
Yeah, well, they got delayed. That's all that matters.
Yeah, that's different than being canceled and firing her.
Mm-hmm. And nobody got
none of that
fired.
happened.
They didn't rehire her for what she did or said.
She was never fired, so she can't be rehired.
She could be rehired. Absolutely, she could be.
She wasn't fired.
Gina could be rehired to work as an actress again.
Gina could be, but she's not going to be part of any Disney Star Wars.
I doubt it, but never say never. It could happen.
No,
people change.
They would never take that kind of publicity hit.
I agree. I don't think it'll happen. I'm just saying
it's not going to happen because if it was going to happen, it would have already happened to save the show instead of killing the show that was already in pre-production. But
yeah, it'd be nice to see that.
Hopefully, Wonder Woman 3 is at least better than Wonder Woman 84.
Yeah, I think the first 1 minute is Wonder Woman 84 I liked, and then the rest I was like, oh my god,
like
what is
the
this?
mall stuff?
Yes, that was it.
Yeah, that was
trying
great.
on 80s clothes was funny.
Yeah. And then the rest was just like, what is this?
I do kind of like Patty Jenkins' fight styles that she has in her movies.
Yeah,
they're very Matrixy, and the music is good. Because the first Wonder Woman was smashing cool. Like I really dug that.
Oh man, that movie was good.
The second,
I don't know, because there shouldn't have been a second one. We were already told there wasn't a second one in Batman versus Superman.
Before
Wonder Woman 1 even came out, she was like, I've hid away for 100 years.
It sounded really cool when I first heard about it. 84, like that's when we were all Wonder Woman fans, right? Linda Carter.
Yeah.
So I thought, wow, this couldn't be any better. It's set in the 80s, and it was the worst.
It was like, wow. Would you go back to The Mandalorian, Pablo, because you're ruining this movie? And then what's her name from Saturday Night Live as Chitara? I know Wonder Woman doesn't really have. I was trying to think of real villains. She doesn't really have villains. She kind of tags off other people's villains.
For sure. Superman villains, Batman villains.
Yeah, other than gods. She does randomly fight Ares and people on Mars and stuff like that.
The villain was too much of a well-known Saturday Night Live comedian.
Yeah.
It's hard. I know Jim Carrey's done it, and Robin Williams has played serious actor roles, but sometimes it's hard if you're not that kind of an actor.
Yeah.
And maybe she is that kind of an actor, but she wasn't. That character wasn't a serious character.
And if you're not perceived as that, like in the beginning when she was her like bumbly kind of person, kind of like how Catwoman was in Batman Returns, she did a great job. And then when she was supposed to be this like Wonder Woman light type of thing, and none of that made sense, and she made such horrible choices, and it's like, but she was still okay. The plot left her, which unfortunately seemed to happen to a lot in that movie, especially poor Chris Pine, who was contractually obligated to be in the next one too. So God knows what they're going to do with him then. Yeah, if they're smart, just put him in a flashback.
He died, right? In the
Again.
First movie? Am I okay? I'm just making.
He blew up in the first movie, and then he came and he soul sucked that guy, and then she raped him, and then for the rest of the movie, he's just putting this guy in tremendous risk. I mean,
I like him as an actor too. I don't know.
Yeah, and I
so
do.
What's your most wanted thing to see in Boba Fett in the next 5 chapters? Do you hope he lives? Do you hope Boba lives at the end? or do you think he might die?
I don't know. I don't think they'd be stupid enough to kill him again. But I honestly don't know because I'm not sure. I'm not sure where it's going because, like you say, we do need another. What I need is him to have allies, and for maybe the Hutts to do something more because nobody's actually being evil at the moment. You are right that it's all talk. Nobody's actually, apart from sending space ninjas after him, really nobody's done anything. I mean, he did blew up that one guy, but nobody's being like, it's all talky. But that's why I don't like the present day stuff. I prefer the Tusken stuff.
24 hours? Like, has it only been one day in that back to tank and all this has happened, or has it been, a week?
Maybe a week. I don't know because he seemed pretty pissed after that major domo from the mayor came, and then I don't know if they left right away. I don't think it could be more than a couple days though.
No, I think you're right. I think it's very short time that he's been to the back to tank twice or three times.
Yeah, and so I don't know. I like I told John, I think the structure of the show is wrong. I think the first 4 episodes of the show should have been all the Tusken stuff. I think the show should have started with him in the pit, getting out, and then the first 4 episodes would have been getting up to the point where he shoots Bib Fortuna. Then the last 4 episodes are him taking over or trying to take over with all the crime lord stuff. Because at the moment, when it's cut up, if you really think about it, there's probably only been about 20 or so, 25 minutes at most of present day stuff.
Almost exactly 25 minutes. Yep.
Yeah. So everything
10 minutes in episode 1 and 15 minutes in chapter 2.
Yeah. So when I saw the runtime of 50 minutes for episode 2, I was like, that's sweet. We're going to get like half and half. But then like I said, I don't care about present day Boba Fett.
You just said that was your favorite part.
Huh?
You just said that was your favorite part.
No, I like the past. I like the Tusken Raider stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I love all that Lawrence of Arabia stuff.
You like that better than the 2 Hutts and the Black Cranston Wookiee?
Yes.
Oh, man.
Yeah, because I like the lore building that they're doing with that. All that, I know all that. I know about the cousins. I know about that Black Wookiee because I've read the EU stuff. I've read all those comics. I know about the Hutt. When Finnick says that he just can't kill.
I didn't read all those comics.
Yeah, so when Finnick says that
he just can't kill,
he can't kill the Hutts without asking first.
Yeah.
Well, we would have to assume that that's the Council of Hutts. Except Vader killed all of them. He's just slide through in the Vader comic, he killed all the Hutts.
Yeah, again, I don't think Jon Favreau is pulling all of his stuff from comics.
Yeah, so
maybe some.
Jabba was the last of the Hutts from the council. That's why he was so important. And then he died in Return of the Jedi, and there was no Hutt council anymore. So then there was a power struggle, and the cousins must have come up on top for some reason, and have now are being sent by the council or think they're just going to take over their uncle's stuff. But it does bring in where's Jabba's kid? Is Jabba's kid dead? Because
Jabba had a kid in a cartoon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to think that when Jon Favreau makes this show and The Mandalorian, he knows that 94% of the people watching it don't know Jabba had a kid in a cartoon, don't know that Obi-Wan gave a Wookiee a scar in a comic.
They also don't know what Tashi Station is.
Don't know there's a commando with a blue stripe in a video game. So I don't think he dwells on that stuff. He'll use it.
He just created Tashi Station out of nothing. No one, apart from somebody who walks,
That was in Star Wars.
No, it wasn't. It was in a deleted scene on a DVD years later.
Yeah, filmed in 1976. I can
guarantee you that most people didn't know what that was, or that was
more people knew what that was than know what a black Wookiee is.
Not according to Twitter and most of the internet.
No, don't use
Twitter. Went fucking
Twitter's
insane
bad, dude.
when they saw him.
Stop using Twitter, and you won't have to do streams saying how much people hate Boba Fett. That's why I don't like Twitter, because it's all mostly. It's the only place where people can go say bad shit about people and not have to worry about it. On Facebook,
There's
your name
also
is
a
there.
shit ton of good people from in the Star Wars community on
Of course
there
there is, but
who
the bad
loved
people
that
are on
he
there
showed up
because
and knew the lore of
they
him.
like to hide behind the icons and the fake Twitter profiles, and Twitter's
No, the
very
good people
toxic.
don't. The good people usually have their names and their faces, and they're right
Yep.
there, and they say, "I loved this episode, and here's why I liked it." And
Yeah, I
they
don't-
said they loved seeing him because they already knew him from comics.
How many
Because
of those
Dr.
YouTube
Aphra
videos
is a
have you
very
seen?
popular character.
Yeah. How many YouTube videos have you seen where people are, oh, I loved the Boba Fett story, and
Actually,
Boba
when
Fett.
I was looking today to make sure I had my stuff from the Forbes article right, I watched a half dozen or more
Yeah.
just on one stream that said how much they liked it, and most of them were like, I was kind of let down a little bit. Like G-Force is a good, or not G-Force, Geek Strong is a good example. Who said they were really let down by episode 1, and they loved episode 2, and then they went into everything about the cousins and the Black Wookiee and the stuff with the train, and they loved it. So it's not just hate, but there is the hate gets amplified.
Oh, it definitely does, and that's the part I get angry
because there's
angry,
more people
upset
who
about.
yeah,
I don't publicize the bad stuff. Publicize the good stuff.
well, and mostly my feed, I only see bad things in my Twitter feed now from people who are pro Star Wars, putting stuff forward from the haters, from the fandom menace, and they'll say, look, these jackasses are here saying this now, or now my feed is filled at the moment with them going against the game, the Eclipse Star Wars game.
Yeah, I saw
trying
that
to get
too,
Disney
and
to
that's
stop it.
all started on Twitter. It didn't
It
start
did,
on
and it's
Facebook
a good
or
thing
Instagram
it started on
or
Twitter.
MySpace.
And that game needs to be moved to a different developer.
It'll probably get outright canceled because of all the fake hate it gets on Twitter now.
If it gets canceled, it gets canceled. I mean, it's too far along now to probably be canceled. It can be moved to a different developer.
It takes years and years and years to make these, right?
It
takes many years to make these games from scratch.
Well, yeah, but you can just pick those games up and move them. EA did. When BioWare took over
start over.
When BioWare took over stuff from EA, they ported over a ton of the stuff EA had already worked on.
Yeah, but they had to redo everything.
Parts of it, but not all of it.
No.
I mean, that's the same thing that's happening now with Knights of the Old Republic. They were just going to go through and clean it up and make it look nice. Now they're not just doing that; they're adding new content.
Oh, it's 100% brand new because technology.
And they're like, this is actually
going
to be about a 49% new game.
How old is that game? 20 years old now?
Oh, it's got to be at least
10 plus. Yeah, so technology changes every year in the video game industry, so it'll be 100% new, like graphics wise,
but it's not just a new reskinning like they did for Diablo 2, or they've done.
No, of course not. They're spending money.
Yeah,
like
they're
movie money making some of these games
because they thought they finally figured out that people weren't, they were going to buy the redo anyway. But if they put new content in, they expanded some stuff. I guess they filled in a couple plot holes, which all that's old EU anyway. It doesn't even matter, except they've slowly started moving stuff in. And they said that they're actually going to bring parts of the game back into line with the canon, which means they could canonize Knights of the Old Republic into new canon, which would be cool because it would give you a whole bunch of new characters and stuff to work with and a whole bunch of new lore, which would be neat. But
I'm okay with video games and people that play them and all that stuff, but they add nothing to me as a fan to the Star Wars story as a whole. I'm glad they exist. That's
so
cool.
You don't do anything except the movies.
No, I'm not a big video game player. Instead of playing video games, I played football.
Well, yeah, but you said you don't watch the cartoons, and you don't read the books, and you don't. I mean, I don't read the books.
I read all the books in the 90s.
Yeah,
like all the cool legend stories, and I lived off that stuff because it was the only Star Wars I had from 85 till like I graduated in 1990. Then they re-released Star Wars. What was that? 91,
95,
95. So there was that 10 years where all I had was comics and novels, and I read all those, the Han Solo novels, the Boba Fett novels, the Cantina novels. I loved them all. The Thrawn, Heir to the Empire, Shadows of the Empire, the comics. I was picky with the comics, but I read the cool ones. But then all the video games came out. I never got into, like, the last video game I played was Madden 94. And I still have it. Like, that's the last video game I physically played. So I don't, it doesn't, I understand the stories and some of the characters, but I'm 50 and it's not a big part of my growing up as much as other people. Because way more so 30-year-olds and 35-year-olds, they played a lot more games than I did.
I had them when they were little kids. Since Atari 2600 all the way up through. Me and John were just playing Star Wars yesterday.
Like, there was no video games when I was a kid. There was Pong. You know, Pong is not a video game. It is, but it's a light on it.
It's tennis.
So, and then in my teenage years, that's when video games at arcades came out, and you can go put quarters in the machine and play Tron. And so that was my introduction to video games when I was a teenager. Now kids can play it when they're 3 months old. They can, play a virtual reality video game.
Yeah.
It's insane now. It's such a huge business, right?
It's incredibly. It must be trillions a year.
Well, because there's so many people that work on these games now, like much like in the movies, graphics people, and
you watch the credits on any of those games when they're over. It's like, oh my god,
read those for 30 minutes, right?
Yeah, they have their own they have their own music people. They have their own
for sure
art design, set design. It's like making a movie anymore.
It's very much so. Background painters.
Yeah, the voice actors, all that stuff. It's like, it's crazy. I was watching somebody play. What's Rum playing at the moment? Oh, he's playing the newer Uncharted game.
Yeah. The graphics now are blow me away.
Yeah, before that he was playing the new some new shooting game. And I was like, oh my god, these graphics are incredible. Because I don't play very often, and what I do play, I mostly play Lego because it's fun.
And the Lego graphics are great too.
And smash those games, and then play for like an hour, get my mind straight, and then go back to whatever else I was doing. Yeah,
Mark's Blue Harvest is playing the cowboy game, the red.
Oh yeah, Red Dead Redemption.
And I've never played that. I knew it existed and it was a popular game, but I'm watching it, and he can light a smoke, he can grow a mustache, he can beat up a guy and take his hat. I'm like, this is freaking amazing, man. Like,
this background
exists. I wish this existed when I was 16 years old. Like, I'd be such more of a nerd now.
I have a buddy who has a 90-inch television on his wall. It's huge. Yeah. It's beautiful. I watch him play Red Dead Redemption, and I just sit like I'm watching a movie.
That's what I do with Mark when I'm at home doing artwork. I'm doing my artwork. I got Mark on another screen playing cowboy games. It's hilarious.
Yeah, and I yell at him. I'm like, wait, go over there. I want to see that mountain range.
So I want to try it. I don't have any PlayStations or Xboxes, but I would love to try that one time. And go make a posse or whatever and go.
Yeah, we did that a couple times, and it was kind of fun. And then we kind of devolved into just being boys and shooting things at, roping each other and lighting each other on fire. That kind of thing.
We really do.
If we had the ability, things we would really do. But fucking studs, yeah. But I honestly don't know what I want to see at the end of Boba Fett. And that kind of makes me happy because I don't really have any expectations.
Season 2, do you think?
No.
Like a cliffhanger.
I don't know, because it would run into I don't know now because of the Rangers show. Because Mandalorian season 3 was supposed to lead into the Galaxy show, which was supposed to lead into Ahsoka, which was leading into the Galaxy or the Rangers show, and then they all got together. I don't think there was ever a thought about doing Boba Fett season 2.
Now you're actually kind of just speculating, because 2 years ago, when they canceled Rangers of the Republic, they didn't know there was a Mando series 3. So I don't think they were that far ahead.
Well, no, they had that. They had it plotted out on the thing at D23 that these were the times that these were going to come out. They've only moved by a year.
Yeah, but they also added Boba Fett, Ahsoka, Kenobi, Andor.
No,
2 years ago, none of those were even known of.
That's the only surprise show. That's why I don't think it actually fits in their plan. Because we already knew Ahsoka was coming. We already knew Cassian was coming. We already knew when these shows were coming. What we didn't know was Boba Fett was coming. That was the surprise. That's why I don't know.
That's why I
Maybe-
like this show better than I could possibly even like Kenobi or Ahsoka. I don't think there's anything in those shows that can make me like Star Wars as much as I do now.
I know Obi-Wan will be fantastic and I'll love it.
But he's not my Obi-Wan.
Huh?
He's not my Obi-Wan.
Well,
My
that's your
Obi-Wan
problem.
is Sir Alec Guinness, and he
So
died
Alec
many
Guinness
years
was
ago.
in, one movie and a couple shots in another. For
And he's
a
Obi-Wan.
lot of the population, Ewan McGregor is Obi-Wan now.
Well, for all the 20-year-olds and stuff, yeah, for sure.
For most everybody.
20
From 1999.
people who are
until
not
now.
50 years old, like me, Obi-Wan Kenobi was played by Sir Alec Guinness.
He originated the role, yes.
Yeah.
For the moment, Obi-Wan Kenobi has been played by 4 different people. Just like Harrison Ford originated the role. However, there have been 5 different Indiana Joneses, and each of them is as real to me as Harrison. So, but Alec Guinness is dead. He's going to be dead. They're not going to resurrect him and spend that much money to make a computer-generated show of him.
Oh, Peter Cushing was dead.
A couple people happy.
Carrie Fisher was
just
dead.
to have the guy who
did that.
voiced him come back and voice him again in a cartoon version.
88 is the original voice from Return of the Jedi as well.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. Read the credits.
No, it's not. His
It's been
name is.
confirmed. It's been confirmed.
No, it's not.
Blue Harvest. Blue Harvest. Who is the voice of 8D8?
Matt Smith is his. Matt Berry is his name.
Matt Berry. Matt Smith's a newer cartoon
Matt
guy,
Berry
right?
is the name of the voice actor who's playing 8D8. He is a character actor in the IT Crowd and on several other shows. He's a British stand-up comedian.
So he wasn't Matt Berry. He didn't do it in 85 or 84?
No.
Oh, I thought Mark said he did.
No. Matt,
because I've never heard of him. I guess it's just
Matt Berry is I don't even know how he's our age, or right around it. Yeah, he was born in 74.
Who's Toast?
So yeah, he's Toast. That was a great show too. It's a great show, Matt Berry's. And do you ever watch? Probably not. What We Do in the Shadows?
British TV shows.
What We Do in the Shadows is an American show. Toast of London is a British show. The IT Crowd is a British show.
Okay, we don't get British shows in Canada.
Yeah, Toast was pretty funny. It's on. I think Toast was on BBC America, but I think they moved everything to that Brit box. I think it's called.
We also don't have BBC America in Canada.
Really? That's weird.
Why would we have BBC in Canada? I think you can get it.
You have the Queen on your money. You're part of the Commonwealth.
It doesn't come as regular cable, like ESPN does, or the Global News Local Network. Yeah, I've never heard any of those things.
Yeah, the IT. He's hilarious. He's kind of.
So you don't think it'll end with a cliffhanger? So we want a season 2 of Boba Fett show, like Han Solo walking up. Remember me?
Well, I still think
Han's
going to be in episode 5.
Why would they put him in the middle of the show and not the end, like Luke?
Why would they put him in the end if they haven't decided if there's going to be a season 2 yet?
Oh, they've decided.
I mean, by now they know if there's going to be a season 2 or not.
They've already written. If there's season 2, they've already written it.
Yeah, it's already in pre-production. Just like Bad Batch season 3 is already doing the voice work. So Bad Batch season 3. Season 2's voice work is already done. Yet. Season 2 comes out in March.
Yeah, so you got to worry about that.
All the voice work and all the animation is done. That show is in the can. So the voice work, because the guy who plays Tech showed on his Instagram thing, said back at work, and
it's the same guy does every voice in that show, right? But like one Omega.
Yeah.
Same clone guy. That's
pretty
hilarious.
Much. He's every clone, and he's most. You know how hard that would be to try and remember.
How much money would you get?
See, I asked a voice actor about that once, and they said it doesn't actually. It scales down.
Just based on hours.
Yeah, because the more voices you do, then you don't get as much. It's. I asked a guy who did stuff on Beast Wars.
I'd want 6 paychecks if I was that guy.
Yeah, no kidding. For every character.
He's the only guy in the studio every day, you know. Okay, which clone am I today?
And does Tamara get any cash from that show?
Has Tamora done a voice for the animated at all?
No, but they use his face.
Because they did add his voice to like the original Star Wars now, which it's okay. It's very similar and British and New Zealand. It's kind of close, so
it's all right.
I'm okay with that little bit of change.
Well, and I'm not, because what if his voice maybe his voice didn't break the same way Django's did?
Oh, of course, it wasn't necessary.
I liked a lot of the changes in the special editions.
Oh, I enjoyed
the three things that were stupid was changing Boba Fett's voice, stepping on Jabba's tail, and Han doing whatever that is so he doesn't get shot.
Yeah, let's put it this way. I like those remakes of the original trilogy 10 times better than I like the sequels and the prequels. Better. I like just like everything original trilogy better than the prequels and the sequels, because I'm 50 and that's what I grew up with, wanting for Christmas every year for 50 years. So that's not going to change, at all, I don't think.
Well, probably not, because you've been with them for 40 years.
True. If there was another property that I loved as much as Star Wars and had as much passion as I do with, vintage Star Wars, everyone would know about it. Like, I like Hulk. I like Mr. T. Like, some stuff I love, right? But if they made a cartoon that showed Mr. T as gay or whatever, I couldn't give two flying F's about it. I would still love Mr. T if he became woke or whatever people complain about, right?
Yeah. Well, and I don't. They're complaining about wokeness in the Book of Boba Fett, and I don't see that anywhere.
I don't even know what woke means, man. I live in Canada. Canada is woke. If anything is woke, all of Canada is, because I don't know. We care. We're polite people. I don't know. We're all mostly vaccinated, and none of us voted for Trump. Well, but yet it's getting worse here, buddy. We're getting more cases. We got more people getting cases of the flu.
Well, we should probably not talk about that, which must not be named.
The flu.
Because we'll get in trouble. It's bad enough that we're talking about Omega.
I like Omega's voice, so I want to see her again, just because I love the accent.
I just think she's hilarious, because she's clearly New Zealand
and not Maori.
And it's like, where'd she pick that accent up at? Because most people, I can get the clones for some reason have an accent. I don't know why. But if she's with the Caminos all the time, she should speak in a very proper way. Tekken, instead of, I'm Omega, how you doing? Well, it's like,
good day, clowns.
Good day, clowns. Well,
there's got to be a reason. It can't be like, oh, she's the only voice actress available that day. It can't be the reason.
Nobody knew what the hell was going on.
Because I thought for a minute, okay, when the Boba Fett show comes, they're going to make him extra influences New Zealand voice, but he's not. I kind of thought for a minute they were going to make it more close to Omega, but they didn't. So Omega's voice is just super, super strong. Her accent.
Yeah. And how she calls herself Omega.
And I keep saying, oh, Omega is the armorer, but the armorer is a total British voice, and it's an American actress.
Yeah.
So they purposely asked her to play a British accent for the armorer, and I don't get that. There's got to be a reason for that.
She's evil. She's evil.
Good point.
All people with British accents in Star Wars
are the bad guys. So we need a British guy in Book of Boba.
We haven't seen one yet. Matt Berry is British, but he doesn't do his accent for 88. So,
no,
maybe he's the hidden villain.
Has he done other voices in Star Wars?
No.
Okay. I just know. I don't know, like the guy who does all the Kenobi voices. The guy.
He's been in SpongeBob.
Guy does Maul.
He was You ever watch a show called Disenchantment? It's made by the guys who do Futurama.
Is it cartoon?
Yeah.
I might have seen it if it's on Netflix or something.
It's on Netflix. It's only.
Oh, it's like a girl, a blonde girl is the main character and a dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched the first episode. And
He's
then
a
I'm like,
main
why does
character
this
in that.
exist? Then I'm
You
like, why
might have
does
heard
this
his
show?
voice there, but again, he's very British in that.
That's made by the Futurama people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Futurama was way better. I think I love that was a funny show.
I started watching Disenchantment out of habit because I like them so much and I like the voice actors in the show so much.
Okay.
And a lot of them moved over to that show, but I don't care for the show at all.
No, that's the only reason I watched that one episode. I'm like, oh, it was made by the Futurama people. It's got to be good.
Yeah. And I was like, can I get some Futurama?
All those other cartoons I've watched 1, 2, 3, 4 episodes of, and then that's enough. I don't have any, like, except like Family Guy and The Simpsons. Like, I watched all those, and I watched every episode 30 times each because I think they made those for me, for 50-year-old guys. Like,
I don't think I've seen an episode of The Simpsons since season 20, which is a long time ago. Because I keep meaning to watch, but it seems like every episode is only wrapped around some special guest voice or something now. It's like, I don't care that Elon Musk is on the episode. Well, can't you come up with something new for Homer to do? But I guess after 700 or so episodes.
What's that, 30 plus years now? 40 plus years. After 60 Minutes, the longest running TV show in history, I believe. 40 plus years because that anniversary.
It's 33 seasons.
33.
And it has 717 episodes now.
Damn.
That's crazy. All available on Disney Plus. Well, select ones have been removed, but
yeah, not every episode, right? And not the current season?
No, like they removed the Michael Jackson episode. They removed several episodes here and there through the series. Kind of like they edited the Muppet Show. The Muppet Show's been edited here and there as well for content, and then sometimes just because of the song. And so they'll remove the song from the show.
Oh, okay. I watched the Muppet, the Christmas, the Halloween movie that came out at Christmas.
Oh yeah,
that was pretty good. I liked that they're still making funny. Muppets. Muppets are a big part of my childhood.
I forgot Richard Ayoade. He was on the show called the IT Crowd with Matt.
Oh, okay.
And he played the robot in The Mandalorian.
The voice?
He was the voice of that. And I saw him, and he said, "No, I didn't go anywhere. I did it from London. Yep. I didn't know what I looked like until the show came out."
Yeah, this guy's name is Chris Bartlett, I believe. He played basically all those droids. Like he's the new Anthony Daniels actor guy, like body.
Yeah.
So he was K2SO, not K2SO, Zero. That bounty hunter droid. All these Silver Protocol droids in the cantinas and bars. That other droid in Jabba's palace that was kind of like a security kind of droid. Yeah. And he's the stand-in guy for all the droids. And these two ladies, a mother and a daughter, play Jawas, Cabby, the little rat creatures in the cantina. And because I see them posting these pictures on Instagram, like they're playing a lot of these roles, right? So they got a lot of the same, stuntmen and actors.
They're probably a couple of the kids, the Tusken kids, maybe.
Probably they haven't. Like, I want to know who the Black Wookiee was. It wasn't. I don't think it was Jonas, the guy who plays Chewbacca.
Oh, that I know, because I don't think he's quite that tall.
No, I think that Wookiee was kind of weak, but they haven't released who that actor is yet. I've been trying to figure it out because I want to draw them all and send these actors some artwork.
Yeah.
Because they all become famous, right? Like once you're in Star Wars,
that's true.
Pretty good for yourself.
You're set for life, is what you are.
You can go to conventions every year for the rest of your life now.
The guy's name is Kerry Jones.
What, you found an actor for Black K?
Yeah, he's been in Predator, The Walking Dead, I Am 4.
What did you type in to find that? Because nothing's been announced.
Well, he was in the credits of the show, and he's in IMDb.
I screenshotted the credits. They don't mention Black Cranston in the credits. They mention Cammy and Fixer. Those are the only names mentioned beside, certain characters.
Yeah.
So what's the actor's name again?
His name is Kerry Jones. I linked his IMDb page. He's been in quite a lot of stuff, actually. Mostly, it looks like he's a special effects designer.
Check this guy out
And
because I'm a
makeup.
fan. I want to do this for a living, dude. Like, I'll be a stuntman if I have to. Get trained. Oh, he is.
Well, that's what the woman who plays the.
This guy was in a movie I watched last night.
Really? What was he in?
Yeah.
Creepshow?
It's actually a really good movie. It's on Netflix, and it stars Samuel Jackson and an Asian woman. I can't remember her name. Called the Protege or something like that.
Huh.
She's like a assassin that Samuel Jackson trains as a little kid, and the whole show. And he was one of the bad guys. I swear it's the exact same actor.
Huh.
Because he gets his face all cut open. Spoiler. Cool, man. I love this kind of shit. Now I got to follow this guy on Instagram.
Well, and see, this guy, he's mostly works in the makeup department. He's a special effects designer and stuff. And kind of like the woman who's the female Tuscan. She has
she's
a few acting credits, but she's really just a stunt woman.
Yeah, an actress.
A stunt woman and an actress, but she really is a stunt woman who does Wonder Woman and Captain Marvel and a couple other major stunt work, and then she does other stuff on the side for acting. But most of her work's been.
I gave most of these people a follow on Instagram the next day because I want to draw them all.
Yeah, and you know, generally Instagram. I like Instagram because it's not a lot of political based stuff.
No, none. Zero.
Twitter can fall into that if you follow the wrong people.
Instagram's pictures.
Yeah.
That's it. It's pictures.
Pictures, short videos.
And Facebook's more for my mom. Like Facebook's not what it was 10 years ago when it was the only platform, so to speak, really.
Yeah, I only really keep my Facebook active because enough of my friends are on it that's another way to contact them quickly.
Sure, me too. And I make income off it. Like it's part of my livelihood in a way. Same with Instagram. So now I'm trying to, be a little more of a presence on YouTube and even Twitter. Like I have to because half the world uses Twitter. Yeah. I'm not one of them. I have to get to those people.
Well, and in a way, and it can help you get your pins out and stuff. Also, if any of the 17 are still bothering to watch us as we've been prattling on for almost 3 hours now, Left Coast Graphics, look him up. He has an incredible site. He does pins. Where are my pins? You got one near you, of course?
Oh, yeah. I never leave home without them.
I just ordered that today. Look at those. They're beautiful. They're incredibly detailed. They are great, and they all come on a 3.75 card back type thing. They're awesome.
They either got a card back, or they got a box.
$12 a piece, or the box ones are usually $15. They are awesome cards. They're wonderful. He's also got another site where stickers and prints and T-shirts, including this one, actually.
Gonk.
Those are awesome.
These guys are cool again.
Yep. See?
We haven't seen a do-back yet. Do you think we'll see a do-back in this series?
Why haven't we?
Why not?
Why not? We've seen a ton of new life on Tatooine, but we haven't seen those guys yet.
Yeah. I'm more happy to see a bunch of banthas walk by than a new Kraken creature. It was cool, but I'd much rather him fight a bantha or ride a bantha.
Well, and I liked in this episode when they were digging and that little creature that was at Jabba's palace and shot his tongue out, pops up and runs away.
Yeah, and the dog got a little treat.
Yeah, I love those little guys.
That was totally funny. What was the other little thing like that too that I thought the Tuscans on the speeders I thought was great. It was the comedy of the whole episode was Tamura telling him, "Oh, like a bantha." Yeah. I like that. I don't think that's woke or corny or bad acting.
No,
they were told to do that.
It's a dad joke in a way, and it's funny.
Exactly. What
was funnier is then, because you expected they're Tuscan Raiders, blah, they're just going to do that. Nope, jumps over, misses, falls, And
Well, the
everybody's
very
like,
first
"Oh,
thing he gets
there
on
goes
it.
George."
Oh, like this, right? And he goes backwards,
Yes.
like just to make
And
it
he knew he was
over the
going
top.
to.
Yeah.
And I knew he was going to go backwards because that's exactly what the Ewok did. And I was like, he's going to go
Good
backwards,
point.
just like the Ewok. And he
Perfect.
did.
That was a great callback because it's all about those callbacks. Every little scene like that is a little bit of a flashback or callback to another scene. Like him choking that beast was a lot like Leia choking Jabba, right?
Yeah.
So there's lots of that fun stuff.
Lucas always says it's symmetry, but a lot of it's forced symmetry. But
for sure, there's nothing
I'm
wrong
okay
with that.
with that.
I like
am
seeing
an
a little
OG
bit of a
fan.
T-visor look every once in a while. They did one little one in the Mando, and now they did it in the Boba show.
Yeah.
Like his eyes, you just see the T shape.
Yep.
That's cool.
And overall,
I like that.
I will always be an OG fan first. I respect the prequels, and I really do like the Clone Wars series because it fleshes out a whole bunch of characters. But I really would like to see more. I want to see more vintage figures. I want to see more of the vintage Kenner style figures as well.
All of them, all 96 of them, in a row.
Really, it's. I've said in the past that if I was a jerk at Kenner, I would release the next 17, just like that one company's doing it. Continue the numbering just like that on the back, and it would force you to buy more. And I would.
Yeah. Hawkspot here says he enjoyed the bar scene. Then he had a drink at the bar after whipping the biker's ass. He did. He had a shot.
He did.
Like,
He did.
He didn't pay for it. He just had a shot and left. Wouldn't it be funny if those bikers were like the Sam Crow guys, like Ron Perlman and Jackson, if it was the actual actors?
Yeah,
because I googled the actors there and they weren't available either. But
he should have thrown him a coin and said sorry about the mess.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
And then he would have that would have been symmetry for the Han Solo bit.
But then he wouldn't have any coins. He's a sand person now.
He's a sand person. I don't think his unitard has pockets.
Well, Boba Fett's got the ones in the front of his legs.
Does he? I haven't really noticed.
Like right above his knees.
Right above his knees.
Cargo overalls, right? Like
that's where he keeps his cell phone.
And his pack of smokes.
Well, thanks for coming on and hanging out with me. It's been great talking with you.
Oh, I always enjoy talking with you, Chris. Thank you.
You have some insane theories that I hope come true, and I hope don't come true for the same reasons.
Yeah. Well, weed is powerful stuff. I mean, I love theories. Theories are fun. I would much rather speculate on a bunch of silly theories than say how much I hate a certain thing.
I would love. That's instead of saying, oh well, the music sucks and this is why. Screw you. What music have you made?
Like I hate bananas and Brussels sprouts, but I don't post it as my headline on Facebook every day. It's not relevant to everyday life.
You should put that on Twitter tomorrow and see what happens. Just I hate bananas and Brussels sprouts and just leave it there.
You'll get a mob. Oh no, the vegans are. Yeah. I stopped saying silly things on social media because
remember what happened to Bush?
People I'm offending are still customers and potential future friends and whatnot, right?
Do you remember what happened to Bush when he said he didn't like broccoli?
What
George Bush, not W.
Something did happen?
Yeah, the broccoli makers of America brought literal semis of broccoli up
to the White House.
To the White House.
That's right.
And he's like, I don't like broccoli. My mom made me eat it all through childhood, and I'm president now, and I don't have to eat it.
I don't have to eat it anymore. Yeah, and they got huge publicity out of it. That's hilarious.
They donated a ton of it to homeless shelters and food banks and stuff, and they couldn't give it away because nobody else likes broccoli either.
So
it was funny.
That's all you get at that one homeless place for a month straight.
Yeah. Hey, we got a good delivery of new food in today. What do you got?
It's not green.
Semi of broccoli. That's funny. All right, dude. Well, thanks again. I'll talk to you here in the future, and I can't wait to see this. Are you doing the Sly next, or are you done with Droopy?
I still got to draw the organ. I got to draw Droopy's organ because when it comes to those kind of things, I get very technical, and I like my lines to be straight. So I spend a little more technical time on those. The characters a little more free form. But yeah, I'll do size noodles. I just really wanted to draw Max Rebo the other night after seeing Boba. I want to draw that Black Cranston guy too, but Man, I tried twice on paper and I didn't like it, so I gotta redo it because I
Wookiees
want
look
him to
weird.
look like Ken or Chewbacca.
Yeah, and Wookiees look weird in that because you can't get the fur right.
Well, Chewbacca Kenner is like, like he's combed and pretty,
he's
and
slicked back. He's got a little greaser in him.
Cranston's like, he's ugly kind of. So I tried. I gotta mess up the fur a little bit.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
It's fun drawing.
Yeah,
I appreciate you, Chris. Thank you.
All right, thank you guys. Thanks for hanging out with us, everybody. Can't believe 16 people hung out with us for all this time and listened to us. So thank you guys, and catch you on the flip.